because then you're not going to hear me. There we go. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining us this time. Sorry, we had a little bit of a hiccup there, but now we are live and we are here. It's been a while since the last time. We had Cristian Cardona, and then we had Barbara Torres, and now we have a couple. Actually, we have two ambassador couples, and these are one of the two, and we're very, very excited to have them here. We had talked a little bit about, and I'm going to introduce you to Moira and Jesse. All right, you guys are unmuted.
Woohoo.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Now we can say
Not that
whatever
you
we
can
want.
reply, but I hope you're all doing well.
They can reply. They can leave
You can
comments.
reply. Okay,
Yeah,
leave
of
the
course.
comments. Let
And
us know you're here. Yeah,
Harass us in the comments.
we are here
please.
only to promote Waterloo carbonated peach sparkling water today.
Do you smile and wink at the camera?
Yeah, that's it. I was like, come on, Liquid Death, don't fail me. Don't fail me on this. But guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been a long time coming. We talked about this for a while.
Yeah, man.
But finally it happened. And then of course with all of our GTS, shows, we have our special guest, and this time we have a tequila that I've actually been trying to get a hold of, but it's pretty hard to get. And finally, I was able to get Cascawin. So Cascawin, another one of the additive-free, which is the one that we love having here. So without further ado, let's crack this sucker open. Let's get us a pour. Come on.
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
All right. Let's get you poured in.
And also to show off these really cool Gikoto bottle openers
I don't
here.
think you're on right now.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. He's on.
aren't we?
Are you?
Yeah.
We should be.
Yeah.
What? I don't think we
So-
get muted when he's talking.
Nope.
No, I thought that.
We're good to go.
That's that, and we haven't even started.
I haven't even
was
started.
gonna say, I
So-
just don't understand technology.
So, all right, guys. As
All right.
with everything in tequila, our last guest that we had here was actually the director of marketing for A18. And he extremely knowledgeable guy, great, and he's a massive fan of photography as well. So he gave us a little tips on how to do this. So for first, cheers, and let's give Cascawina a try.
Salud.
Oh boy,
Notes of agave.
there you go.
A little bit of tobacco.
Okay,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm
I was like,
joking.
that might be the cigars we were smoking beforehand. I kid. We weren't. We actually had some Coopers, which was fantastic.
It was also
Yeah,
smoked.
that was great.
It was smoked. So, well, again, thank you guys so much for being here. Well, to you, everybody out there in the interwebs, make sure that when you're watching, if you have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to post them. Get them here. It doesn't matter. We're open books, and as this bottle keeps getting emptier and emptier, I'm pretty sure they're going to be answering anything.
Share all of our
Are we? Is this
On
a
stuff.
PG-13? Like, where are we going
No.
with this?
No,
'Cause
this
it's
is-
YouTube, so I know there's an algorithm to consider.
Yeah. So we obviously we're not going to get graphic or
Okay.
anything like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you can talk freely about everything that we talk about here. The main thing about GTS, kind of like what I had mentioned, is we want people to know that, people that they look up to, educators that they look up to, photographers that they see, you guys traveling the world and creating these amazing, images and stuff like that, that you guys are human. What goes behind all of that. So let's start there. So how long have you guys been photographers?
You longer than me.
Yeah, I've been a photographer for, I would say, about 20 years. My parents are both artists. My dad is a photographer. So I've really been taking photos my whole life. But I started doing it professionally while I was in college. I started as a photojournalist and working for newspapers. So that was the early 2000s. So yeah, almost 20 years now. And then Moira came on after we met on spring break in the Bahamas in college in 2007.
Yes.
So 16 years for you.
Yeah, alcohol was also involved in
No,
that.
not at all.
I don't believe it. Alcohol with you guys?
Spring break.
Never. Spring break? Absolutely not. Cool. So it's been a while. You guys
Yeah.
have been in it in it for a while. Did you guys think that you guys were gonna end up doing weddings?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, when I first started, and newspapers kind of started tanking a little bit, especially print journalism. I was like, oh man, how am I going to pay the bills in the future if newspapers are going away? And people would be like, you should look into shooting weddings. There's a ton of money in the wedding industry. And I would always answer with something like, I will never be a wedding photographer. Because at the time, all the wedding photography I had seen was sort of this boring, homogenous, traditional style of people standing, grip and grins, looking at the camera, kind of light and airy, soft focus. Like, it just didn't appeal to me. At the time, it was like, this is, again, early 2000s. Now there's a million people that do all sorts of incredible stuff with weddings. But I didn't see the potential in it at the time. I was like, no, I'm a journalist or an artist or whatever. As a pretentious young man. Still, I'm probably a little bit pretentious, not as much so. But no, I never thought.
If you guys think he's so pretentious, just put it up on here, like I said.
This tequila is, not for me. Bring in another one. So it's not, I would have never thought that I would shoot weddings, and certainly not that I would have been doing it for almost 16 years. That's crazy to me. But I mean, it's been great. Like, we figured out a way to do it that, is creative and sort of inspires us as artists. And we're not looking at it as just a paycheck like I thought it would be when we first started. Now it's like, we're really passionate about it.
Yeah, no, we've built our business in a way that we enjoy what we do, and we enjoy, I think, having a hand in every part of the business. And for me personally, I never thought I would be, photography wasn't even on my radar, even after I met him. And I tell a lot of people, I felt like I was drag kicking and screaming into photography. I grew up, I have an event background. My parents ran a restaurant. They had a catering company. When I was in college, my first job out of college, I managed events. I've always been in the event industry somehow. And so when he booked his first wedding, he was like, hey, can you come along? And I'm like, oh, I can manage events with my, eyes closed. And I thought that was be all that I would be doing. It was just kind of assisting. And he handed me a camera. And I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? And he gave me this sheet of paper on how to shoot in manual mode. And this was the first time.
Like the day of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He wrote it out.
I wrote it out a couple weeks before. Maybe you didn't.
Did you?
Maybe you didn't look at it until the day of.
I
You're a little bit of a
certainly
slacker. I don't know.
You take that back.
You're not a slacker at all.
A+ student.
You're the opposite of a slacker. I'm a slacker.
Yeah, but for years, I think that's still in my camera bag. I have it. It's kind of like a
That's
little
cool.
totem.
It's a memento of
Yeah.
because now it's comical that she would carry around a
Right.
chart of f-stops and shutter speeds
So
and ISOs.
at the time when you guys, when you shot your first wedding, were you guys a couple already? Were you guys married?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
I don't.
So we don't even know what year we got married, to be honest. It was either 2009 or 2010, and the first wedding, I think, was in 2008.
Yes.
So
I think
yeah,
you did like.
we were a
2 or
couple for
3.
sure.
Yes.
Not sure if we were married.
If you were
yet.
married,
I
okay.
don't think we were technically married at that point.
Yeah, and we were just common lawed for a long time, and
Yeah.
then we finally signed the official paperwork like 2 years ago.
So there was no big wedding, and you had to have no. So is that coming? And if it is, who's gonna shoot it? Like you're gonna get that question.
I mean, we get that question all the time. And it's like,
you know
we
what?
can-
Let's throw you into the den right now. So
What's
you
the
guys
den?
you guys are planning. You guys are planning your wedding. And it's going to
Okay.
be a big shebang,
Yeah.
and obviously I'm going to be the best man and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that,
I mean, you're going to give an amazing toast. We couldn't
Absolutely.
choose
So,
anyone else.
you can't expect anything less on that. But if you had to choose,
I'm not answering. How can we answer this? How can we
exactly.
answer
And
this?
that's why I said we're throwing you in, and I'm throwing you in, head first. Who's going to shoot your wedding?
I feel like the only.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you three chances. All right. Who's going to shoot your engagements? Who will shoot the groom? Who will shoot the bride? You can pick your photographer. You can pick your photographer, and then who would shoot the wedding?
God, that is the
We're going to have some dead air here trying to think about how we're not going to offend people.
No. Coliseum-style fight.
Okay.
We just invite all of our friends, all of our favorite
And then we
photographers.
release the lions.
Exactly. And if the lion wins, then the lion shoots the wedding. I don't make the rules.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we got to say someone or this is going to be disappointing.
Do. Absolutely.
Right.
Like people
you first,
already.
Maura.
Me first. Okay, so engagement. I think... I can't believe you did this to me. Oh,
I didn't do it.
This is
Hiram
like
did it.
picking your
I did.
favorite children. But no, but you made me go first, so I have to say a
First,
name,
we want to say
and
that
that's
we
setting precedent.
love all photographers
All-
before we answer
yes.
this question equally.
Okay, no, I do. I have my
No,
engagement.
absolutely.
I have my
Yeah.
engagement
Okay, that's
selection.
good.
I'm going to select Shannon Kane.
Shannon,
Because
okay.
Shannon Kane will go adventuring with us. We would go somewhere really cool. I mean, she does those adventure engagement sessions, so I could pick a really cool location that we've never been to, which is how I would probably decide where we would get engagement photos done, and she would be there.
And she's a hiker.
And she's a hiker,
Okay.
and
That's-
she brings her own hair and makeup person, and I am just terrible at hair and makeup. I got one look.
Awesome.
And
That's
this is it.
fantastic. Okay. So then that's what it is. Honest, truthful. That's what we want. Your turn.
I'm gonna shout out maybe one of our Colorado people here, right? Like, there's so many people we could say, but I'm gonna go with our buddy Cortland Wilson, who is a Colorado. He's born and raised in Colorado, but he lives in California now. I think in the Sacramento area. He's just he's a great photographer and such a good dude.
Yes.
He's ex-military. And wedding photography is kind of his second career after that, and he's just one of our favorite people to hang out with.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In the
Yeah, and
industry,
that's
so,
and you know, and that's good. That's like everything else, and we've talked this over and over again when it comes to like photography and everybody who we've had here. One thing that we all are in agreement is that your photographer you have to feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. You have that is the number one thing. And I've heard you guys, talk. I've heard you guys, in your workshops and as well as the classes, from WPPI and stuff like that. That's one thing that you tell everyone as well. That you want your clients to feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's that's fantastic. All right.
Well, I think the other thing too is that with these two in particular, a collaboration would be a big part of it. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's something that we really enjoy when we're either shooting a wedding or engagement session, is that collaboration with the client when they're part of the process and not just like, we'll do whatever, we'll go. I mean, there is some fun with we'll do whatever, but when, like, we just did an engagement session at the Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park because the bride does astrophotography.
Which, by the way, it's one of the most underrated national parks.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah,
Like, it is.
Although we don't necessarily want more people coming to Colorado,
no,
so I would say
overrated. Don't go
the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, worst place on earth.
We almost got eaten by a bear.
You don't. That's actually true.
That is
yeah.
true. Yeah.
Not almost eaten,
No.
but yeah.
Yes.
We saw a bear.
There were bears.
600 yards away.
Well, no, it was closer than
We
that.
had
It
one
was a
coming down the
mother
trail at
and a
us
cub.
Oh, okay.
with a cub, and that's how you know it's
Oh,
dangerous.
okay, yeah, that's
Black
all
bears
right.
usually don't come at people, but if you get anywhere near the cub,
The Cubs, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't the Black Canyon.
But yeah,
don't-
really,
don't.
it's a great place.
But
It's
it
like the
really
Grand
is.
Canyon, but there's no people there.
Yeah.
and let's keep it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but that was amazing. Was she really wanted to do some astrophotography, and that's something that she's interested in, and so we planned this kind of around it and finding a dark site area, and we were able to kind of geek out on photography with her. And
Geek out.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose.
Wink at the camera.
I can't wink. I'm pretty sure I just blinked.
You
at
just
the
blink
camera.
both eyes.
Just blink both eyes, but like only show the camera one. Like and subscribe for more tips.
So there you go. So okay. So we've got the engagements.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
you-
So
I thought that was my wedding photographer.
No, you said
we got-
engage-
we-
you
we
said
have to
engagement.
keep going.
You said engagement,
She said
I
engagement.
said engagement.
and so did you.
And that was my wedding photographer.
Oh, that's your wedding.
Oh, that's your wedding.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Cortland can come to both.
Okay.
Well,
that's fine.
We do. You want to shout out some? Let's keep it Colorado
Yeah.
local.
Colorado local. Okay.
Let's
Don't think too hard. Yeah.
It's because there's so many.
There
it's
really
hard
is.
to choose from.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
not like we're struggling to think of someone.
So every time when they ask me like questions, I mean, the heaviest states that have Colorado, California, and Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously like Florida and stuff like that. But compared to these 3 states, man, there are a ton of amazing, like talented photographers. There's talent all over the place, but just me being from the DFW area, the amount of talent that's around here, it's amazing. In Colorado, again, I mean, we have you guys, we have Sean, there's so many that is like, so it's great. When we were at Fearless, this year, earlier this year.
Colorado showed up. I mean,
Yeah,
a number of
absolutely.
photographers.
Yeah, we did a group
Absolutely.
photo, and it was like 2/3 of the
We're-
entire
we're- yeah,
conference in one
we're-
photo.
yeah,
to the
we're-
point where it was like awkward that there were only a few people excluded. you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was. It's pretty awesome. Okay. So
Yeah.
keeping
Okay,
it Colorado
All right,
local.
who else we got?
Well, I think I'd have to call out the Gillespies,
Okay.
Trent and Stacy. Primarily, that's my selection as the bride, because I know that Trent works with the bride typically on the wedding day, but I would select Stacy because Stacy's a good time. She would keep the party going. She'd pick I would let her pick all the music. She would bring that energy that you want in like a getting ready room, and she has the eye for some really creative shots during getting ready.
Awesome. Okay.
I thought maybe you would have forgotten about me
No.
at this point. Okay, let's go. Jennifer Garza, another one of our past students, and getting really talented with off-camera flash, and just a fun person to be around. One of our other friends in Colorado, I think. Yeah, Cortland and Jennifer, Shannon, Gillespies.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See,
And
it
I mean
wasn't
a
that
bunch
hard.
more. Like we
Absolutely.
could sit here and list 50
absolutely.
people.
Because
Probably,
and that's the one thing. What's funny is I've been lucky enough to be able to shoot. And it's so amazing when somebody within the industry picks you as their wedding photographer. When you shoot it is such a big honor. I've done that a few times, and every time it's nerve-wracking. Because you just want to step it up, but you also don't, they picked you for a reason, so you don't want to veer too far off, of everything. But yeah, it's always fantastic. So
it is, yeah. I mean, it comes with that added kind of responsibility where you're like, they picked us and because they dig our work, but they are on top of their game too. And if we have to go into it like we never, phone it in at a wedding, but. I feel like there's that kind of extra little bit of added pressure to really go in there and kill it. I think we work like that extra couple % harder.
I mean, we just shot a wedding in Crested Butte for the sister of a wedding photographer from Rhode Island.
Right, and the wedding photographer found us
Yes.
for her sister who was not a wedding.
awesome.
So those situations too, similar thing.
yeah,
because-
those are fantastic. Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
I will say it was amazing. She was fantastic to have around on the wedding day in the planning and lead up, because she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She loves that documentary style, has a similar style to us, like understands how we work, but also just kind of stepped back and she was like, I trust you, do your thing. And it was just nice to know that she was there supporting us and not feeling like she was there critiquing us.
Yeah.
She was very just friendly and
Yeah,
the
and
whole
that's
family was
and
amazing.
and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they know that you guys are professional, that you guys and it's fantastic. I don't know how many times now I can honestly say that late last year was the first wedding I had gone as a guest in like 15 years.
Wow.
I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that I hadn't been a guest at a wedding in that long until I was dancing with my wife, and I was like, oh, this is nice. This is cool, But the one thing that it irked me back, when I was still shooting, as well as at that time when I had people come in and like, oh, are you just looking to see what the photographer's doing wrong? I'm like, no, that's not my job. Mm-hmm. I was like, why should I sit here and criticize? It's part of it. But again, when a photographer hires you and they can just let you be, that's fantastic. Obviously they have all the trust in the world when it comes to that. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So let's rewind just a little bit. Let's go back to when you guys first started. You were saying that you said you were never going to shoot weddings. You were never. So what, outside of somebody telling you that, like what drew you, or after you shot that first wedding, did you say, oh, this is not for me? Or what kept you into the wedding like industry in what you're currently doing now?
For the first few years, it was simply to pay the bills, to be honest, which isn't like a very romantic answer, I suppose.
No, which is fine, but
Practical.
you know, like the journalism industry was on the decline, and I had to continue feeding myself. So, you know, I started doing weddings for pretty cheap at the beginning, and you know, we weren't very discerning about which weddings we took. We just kind of anybody with enough money to pay us was like our ideal client at the time. It wasn't until so his first wedding was in 2008. It wasn't until I would say like 2016 when Moira quit her full-time job that she had, because she was like kind of
no, we need to go back to that. We want to know that.
yeah. So she was doing almost 2 full-time jobs at that point, right? Like she's working for the wedding business and
They were more than full-time.
More than full, both of them more than full. Yeah, so you're working like, what, 90 to 100 hours a week
It
probably?
certainly felt like that in the summers at least, yeah.
So then there was this, you know, we had dinner one night and she was like, okay, I have to, 2 paths diverge in a wood and I have to take one path, right? Like, what are we doing here? I'm either going to dive into, it's like that Ron Swanson quote from Parks and Rec. You a fan of that show? Where he's like,
yeah, you know, I love, especially that character was probably my favorite one from that thing. I'm an office guy.
Okay.
But you know, that being part of the whole creation from, you know, where
so do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but keep going.
He's
keep
like,
going.
don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass one thing.
That's right,
So
yeah.
Moira's like, which of these things am I going to whole-ass?
Yeah.
So she decided to whole-ass photography. Whole, W-H-O-L-E.
Yeah.
Just to be clear on that. Yeah.
This is very kind of you to give the credit to me, but I think the way that I remember it, and we have differing stories for a lot of things in our lives. The way that I remember it, we were coming. Like, we had a very successful summer that summer. We had 8 weddings in 1 month, and I saw this coming, and I kept trying to talk to my boss at the time and say like, okay, this is coming up, and he gave me a ton of flexibility, which was awesome. But he would not have that conversation with me about, you know, this is coming up, and I need some. Like, we need to figure out a plan because I'm not going to be able to be in the office as much as I usually am. And he just avoided the conversation. So I was coming home at night just mad about that job, about the things I was doing for the business, and it was just like I was mad all the time.
Yeah.
And we were sitting at dinner and I was ranting about this, and I remember he looks at me and he goes, "Quit." Just that simple. And I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Just quit. Let's try the photography thing. Let's do it." And
Whole ass.
And again, this is like almost 10 years into our business, right?
Yeah.
Or not 10, like 8 years into our business.
But the whole idea terrified me. But, you know, and he made the point, he's like, fear is a very motivating factor.
Mm-hmm.
I said that?
It was either you or our mechanic.
I was like,
It was, or our mechanic said it was.
I'm going to take credit. I'm going to take
you can
credit,
take credit. But, and it's true, you know, not having a safety net, I think, was very motivating in figuring out what we needed to do, you know? And
no plan B.
Yeah.
Although you're a huge plan B and C. Like, you got so many marketable skills. All I have is photography, for real. Like, if wedding photography went away tomorrow, Moira would be fine. I would be like a stay-at-home husband, straight up cleaning the house and cooking meals.
That's not the worst thing in the world.
No, I mean, I'd be cool with that.
so I'm gonna on this right here. Like, I've known these guys, you know, for a bit, and the one thing from the beginning, from when I met Moira compared to Jesse, is
Here we go.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this.
Moira, you're. I was like, here's my Excel sheet. Here's my plan A, B, and C.
Yes.
Here's where we're gonna. You're very structured.
Yes.
In everything, and Jesse's just like.
Is that what I sound like?
It's like, you know, but the thing about it is, I think that's what makes you guys so successful. The fact that you guys kind of mold into each other, you know, which is rare. It doesn't always happen, you know.
Yeah, I do think that one of the only reasons this has worked out is because we are not in direct competition with each other for anything. We, I like to say that we're like one whole person with the amount of time that 2 separate people have. So we have extra time to do a lot of things, but together, you know, or like our brains kind of fit together. And
Yeah,
we
since
have very complementary skills.
I came from an artistic background. Again, my parents were artists, and I grew up kind of traveling around the country to art festivals and things like that. And Maura comes from a business background, going to business school on the East Coast. It's like if our skill sets were a Venn diagram, it would be like two circles that barely touch at the edge, right? So we're able to cover a lot, and you know that does kind of remove some of that competition with each other. Like we're not always competing over the best shot or trying to see who can win more awards or anything like that.
So
she has her lane, like we stay in our own lanes. And it
Who
works.
has won more awards?
I think
Well,
you.
you've placed higher than Fearless and me.
Yeah.
Like she got Fearless top 25 a couple of years ago. I've never been that high. So,
Booyah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But you've won more.
I'm realizing that I'm irrelevant at this point. All right, guys, it's been fun. See ya.
No.
Well, and I do think the other thing too is that yes, we don't really overlap, but we have learned enough of each thing where if we need to, you know, like when I'm super crazy with things, if I need him to answer a couple leads, you know, like he can step in and do things there. You know, if he needs me, like I do the color correction, you know, so we do overlap.
Only because I'm colorblind. I do all the editing, but she needs to put. You're colorblind too?
Yeah, blues and greens.
Blues and greens. Okay, for me it's reds and greens and blues and purples.
Well, that's from the red green because the purple you can't see the red so much.
I would know that if I wasn't
You
colorblind.
sure would.
No, I know the
Yeah.
color wheel
No,
and all
but
that. Like I can edit.
Yeah.
But I'm good with the yellow-blue spectrum, the Kelvin spectrum. But when it comes to green magenta in skin tones and things, like Maura goes in, she's like, everybody's skin is kind of magenta here, I think, or pink or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
it was, and I think it was like 5 years ago. He had posted something on Facebook, and I went into the office. I was like, "You need to take that down. It's way too green."
Yeah, I'm like, what's the
We-
problem?
Yeah,
It's artistic.
It's the
And he just didn't
Hulk.
see it.
That's Art
Yeah.
Nouveau. It's French.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's first of all, let me see if there's any questions. We have some people that have logged on or whatever. We have Marcos. Marcos says hey, says hey.
Marcos,
what's going
salud.
on? Sandra always logs on, so thank you guys
Sandra
so much.
from Michigan, yeah?
Yeah. Isabel
Right
San Miguel. TJ.
yeah.
From the workshop.
Yeah, TJ's here. Lee Slaughter.
Oh, yeah.
Also from the
Yeah.
What's up, Lee?
also
Yeah.
from the
Texas.
Texas workshop, yeah.
And then Charlie in the tree.
I
Says
don't
cheers.
Charlie.
Right on.
Oh, is
don't
that
know.
Charles?
Charles?
I don't know. It just says cheers. It says Charlie.
Well,
Charlie
we know a
in the
couple of
tree.
Charles,
Cheers,
so
Charlie.
it's one of the
So
Charles.
cheers.
Cheers.
As a matter of fact, I do need some more. Who needs topped off?
I think he does. I am savoring mine.
Good. Let's talk a little about what do you guys think so far of Cascawin?
Well, as you know, we're whiskey people.
Exactly. You guys are whiskey people. So
I don't know a lot about tequila. Typically, when we drink tequila, it's in some sort of mixed drink, like a margarita or a paloma or something like that. And the only ones that I've sipped, I think, have been not Blanco, right? Like they've been añejo or reposado. They've been more
which
like
I did try, but Cascawin is it's very hard to get just the Blanco, and the other ones are virtually almost impossible. I haven't been able to. Originally, we were going to get Tears of La Llorona, which is why, I wanted to, because it's an extra añejo. It was something that I had never tried myself, just like Cascawin. But, that was a little bit too hard to find, on that part.
You talk about being
So-
organized. I'm sitting here hearing this. I'm like, I'm going to find those things.
Oh,
I'm gonna get them.
I tell you what, you find it. I was like, and you take it to the workshop, because by the way,
Okay.
if you guys don't, just in case you guys don't know, you guys have a workshop along with Christian and Jason, correct? Vincent,
Vincent.
Vincent,
Yep.
right? Vincent. He's not part,
Vincent.
yeah. And then Christian Cardona. So you guys three are having one. Colorado Springs.
It's just outside of the
Just
Colorado
outside of
Springs.
Okay, right
outside of Colorado
It's
Springs, I
in the
knew that.
mountains. We like to take everybody
Yeah.
into the mountains a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next month, the 17th to 19th.
And
We've-
that's sold out or almost sold out?
We've got 10 spots taken.
Okay.
We can go up to 12.
Okay, so
So,
we got 2 spots left.
yeah,
Or
theoretically, we have
now
2 spots left.
You guys have
Yeah,
two
the
spots.
royal we.
We all have 2 spots.
So,
yeah.
so if you guys, want to snatch these, there's 2 spots left.
JLaplante.com/fusion.
So there you go.
Was that a wink? Was that a good
was
wink?
That was such
But
a
I
good
have to
wink.
like crinkle up my face to do
but
it.
see, here's the thing. I got to switch the camera over to you.
Oh.
See, now you got to do
All right,
it.
here we go.
See, there it is.
No,
So,
Did that
but what
work?
was the website
just
again?
wink without the website.
You got to say the website.
JLaplante.com/fusion.
That's
So,
right.
I have to say, if we weren't already married, like your dulcet tones right now, I would definitely hit on
These
it.
dulcet
Yeah.
tones
Yeah,
on
listen to that
the
voice.
9
It's
o'clock
the-
hour.
It's the tequila.
It is
I'm telling
62
you.
degrees
I'm telling you,
Fahrenheit
this-
outside.
I was
Drinking
like-
a little bit of that agave syrup.
There you go. That does sound pretty
I'm
nice.
trying.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Can you read
I have to.
audiobooks for me?
So
Sure.
All right.
all you got to do is just get them a bottle of tequila and you're good.
Yeah.
So this is how I won my wife over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the more she drank, the less she actually paid. It was those
She got
tequila,
those tequila glasses on
goggles,
and the- yeah.
the
Yeah.
tequila goggles,
Yeah.
and now before you knew it, I was George Clooney. She doesn't like George Clooney.
I could see
You
that.
got
Yeah.
the salt and pepper going on.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm more like Javier Bardem.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, not Javier in No Country for Old Men though. That was kind of a that.
No, that's
I don't-
more. That's more that what I was talking about.
I'm
but
not
sure.
seeing that. I'm not seeing that haircut on you. Although I would like to. Maybe we could do like a filter to put that on. you.
Yeah, that's it.
Halloween
So,
is coming up.
It is, which is one of it's my favorite holiday. Not an official
Friendo.
holiday, but it is a holiday. So, so Charlie in the Tree says, "See you 3 there." So apparently
That would be Charlie.
So that is
that
Charlie.
would be
Yeah,
Charlie.
He said, "Yes, sir."
Right on. Charles
So-
Wynn, right?
Yeah.
So yes. So there it is. Oh, like really, dude? Like Charlie in the Tree? That's where you're gonna. So just in case you guys don't know, the Charles that we're talking about, I was like, he is the owner of one of the owners of Cheetah Stand.
Cheetah Stand, yes.
Great friend of ours and everything. So big shout out.
We were drinking tequila with Charlie in the tree
Earlier.
not 6 hours ago.
Today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you were trying, but here's the
It was
thing.
not.
It was mixed drink. It was a mixed drink.
Exactly. See,
I don't
Charlie.
know what kind of tequila.
See, Charles. You can't top me, bro. You can't. So it is game on like
And
Donkey Kong.
Again, we have the Waterloo
That's right.
carbonated water peach version.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell you,
Sure.
this is the kind of competition I can get on board with because we're the ones who seem to win.
So we're going. That's it. It's on, Charlie. It's on.
What's on though? What are you guys doing?
So, I don't know, but I'll figure something out.
Okay.
It.
Well,
Is
it happening in
on.
Colorado?
It's gonna happen in Colorado.
Okay.
It's gonna happen because
So-
he's going and he knows I'm going. So it's on now.
till day 2 because we're done
So.
teaching on day 2 and then we can just kind of sit back
Perfect.
and enjoy
Is it
whatever
a
it
dance
is.
battle?
Perfect.
Oh,
That's it.
Is it a
It
rap
is.
battle?
Dude.
And if so,
I will Rex
Okay.
effects that sucker.
who are your biggest hip hop influences?
First
I
round,
need to know that
dance
first.
battle.
Oh, we'll get that.
Second round, rap battle. Third round, Coliseum with Lions.
Okay. Well, the Coliseum with Lions is for who's shooting her wedding.
Oh.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
We can
But
bring
if you
in
build a Coliseum, you might as well use it.
we can bring in wolves.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine
They
with
just
wolves.
introduced, I
Any
think,
large
more
predator.
wolves to Colorado again, right? Did that happen
They're
yet?
working on it. I don't think they've brought them in yet.
Okay. Well,
They're-
when that
I mean,
happens,
the wolves are trying to work their way down from Wyoming.
All right. Cool. So there it is, Charles.
Like
we're
and
going
subscribe
against
for more
we're,
random animal facts.
we're going
we have so
we're
many
going into
animal
wolves.
facts,
So, so let's talk a little bit. Let's get back on track. Cheers.
it's gonna go.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck getting on
This
track.
is us, like fairly sober.
I'm liking
No,
this.
it's very smooth.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, I think, at least for me, my introduction to tequila was mostly in college, mostly in margaritas.
And that's
Didn't
that's
really-
most people's
And it's
intro.
like
yeah.
to us in college when we were 21, high end was like Cuervo,
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
then low end was like $8 off the bottom shelf. So
Yeah,
I will say, yeah, for a silver, this is not harsh at all.
No,
Yeah.
no, and that's one of the things, especially with small batch, type of tequilas. This is what you always get, especially right now with all the celebrity tequilas that are out there and everything that's kind of going on. There's so much trash, Mark Wahlberg has his own tequila.
Yeah.
Say hi to
Oh,
your
like
mother for
you
me.
know when Transformer Boy gets in there, that's
Is
just
he? I mean, is he just the money man, or is he like actually involved in
Well, he's
in
pretty
the tequila
involved. Like
making
he's
process?
pretty involved. Like he's literally like touring the country and getting behind bars and pouring people drinks, like shots.
Okay, but do you think though that
Well, that's
like,
more promo. That's not on,
It
the,
is.
on the
it is.
production.
Oh
That's
no,
not-
no.
I
You know,
suspect that everybody in the production side is like, okay, just let him think he's making decisions and like he can come through, feel as involved as possible. Because let's be honest, that's what I used to do with my bosses is just manage up.
And absolutely, and you know, here's one of the things. You know, as much as I do not like celebrity tequilas, like I said last time, we had A1A. You know, A1A is owned by Kendall Jenner, but she's extremely involved in the entire process. She's actually a decision maker. She does a lot of things. However, she does have Dave, who has I mean, you know, decades of experience and hired the right person. Dave Yan, he used to work for Casanoble, which was the tequila that I, you know, was sponsored by at one time. That's how I met Dave. And he's extremely knowledgeable. Now he works with Kendall. And what he's been able to do in 2 years has been pretty significant. Is it there? I mean, no, compared to some of the ones that have been doing there, you know, like these families and stuff like that. But to be able to do that in 2 years, having their own distillery, you know, kind of, you know, marrying the two, like the modern way of doing tequila with science and the scientific things that they're doing, it's pretty awesome. He was able to explain a little bit last time he was here, so it did kind of open up my eyes a little bit more than not all on that. Well, at least that one. But yeah, you know, there are still very rare tequilas that are you know, relatively enjoyable. So I'm finally glad that I was able to get my hands on this one.
Nice.
It was a good one, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it.
Oh yeah.
So good,
Let's see
because
how
I know
we-
you guys are whiskey drinkers, and I did try.
That's all right, man. And we appreciate. We appreciate. I'd be happy to sit here and drink water with you, which we're also doing. Waterloo brand.
That's right. I was like, I've been trying to.
those of
I
you
was like,
playing
Liquid
at
Death.
home.
You know that Liquid Death is what we always have in here. But you know what? I bet you anything Waterloo will reach out.
For those of you playing at home, please take a shot every time Jesse reps Waterloo.
Waterloo.
Yes, that's actually
The water of Lou.
We're working on it.
So
We're
all
still-
right, guys.
yeah, that's the beta slogan.
That's it. So this is going to be it's a question that I'm going to ask to each one of you individually, and then I want the answer asked a couple as well. Okay.
Right on.
You have been part of, you know, the artistry family, you know, for obviously your entire life, with your parents being artists and such, your dad being in the photography industry, and such. So I mean, did you always kind of know that this is where you were going? Did you always want to be a photographer or an artist or be in the art world?
Yeah, I always had an inkling that I would do something creative for a living, for sure. I mean, in school, I was always bad in science and math and good at English and art, right? So is that left brain, right? I'm not sure. I have one half of my brain worked, the other half didn't. So yeah, I knew that, and I did
One
also
was
like
front, one was back.
I made paintings, I did wood carvings, I played instruments, I learned how to juggle, I made fused glass jewelry and all sorts of various things. And photography was just kind of one of those. So I was definitely exposed to a lot of different artistic media from a very young age. I didn't always necessarily want to be a photographer, but when I got to college and it came time to pick my major in like the second year that I was there, I was like, oh, geez, what am I going to do? And then I found the photojournalism program, and it sounded fun and also kind of easy. Like I remember looking at the syllabus and thinking, okay, well, if I pick this, I don't have to take these classes. So it was a little bit of laziness on my part, but at the same time, I really enjoyed learning documentary photography and documenting stories. And, you know, some of the assignments would be to develop a year-long story where you follow a certain, you know, person of interest or family that's going through something. And I really found that to be enjoyable. And
Yeah.
I love shooting like sports and spot news, which is news that's actively developing. But also within the journalism program, we got to get creative with OCF, off-camera flash, right?
Yeah.
Because like when you're shooting for a newspaper, it's about 90% journalism and shooting moments and things that are developing, totally candid. You can't pose anything. And the other 10% is like going in to do a portrait of a business owner or a high school athlete or a professional athlete, which reflects wedding photography like perfectly, right?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
90% candid and 10% portraits. So, and I definitely fell in love with shooting for newspapers, and I would probably still be doing it today if it was easier to make a living doing that today.
Absolutely. Which is I think is one of the sad realities that we have, is the fact that, unfortunately, that with phones and everything, being so easy to use, so many newspapers closed down because they were having, journalists, not photojournalists, but journalists going out there and were like, well, get the story and get a couple of pictures with your
Yeah,
phone.
man. I think it was the Chicago Sun-Times
exactly.
was the first major newspaper
To close
completely
down.
cut their photo budget
Yep.
and give iPads to the reporters.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I remember hearing that headline, like all of us at the newspaper I was at, hearing that, and we're like, oh, the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
Right? Like this isn't,
And
this isn't sustainable.
And it really, it's heartbreaking. It really is. That, and then later on, everything just kind of started snowball. It was kind of like a snowball effect to the fact to even like National Geographic. They're all doing contract work now. There's no actual National Geographic photographers like there used to be. They don't have. It's a hard reality of what it's had. But the one thing that has been a pretty constant, man, and when it comes, it's wedding photography. Wedding photography, it's at an all-time high right now, which is actually kind of crazy, in a good way, in a great way. And I think that's one of the things, that kind of is a great segue into what, I'm going to ask next or whatever. Like from when you guys started to now, what has been the biggest difference, or what do you guys do to, one, stay creative, from wedding to wedding? Because I know that's harsh. Not harsh, but hard. I'm sorry. And secondly, to keep those clients, coming. I mean, you have to keep, especially now with social media and everything that's kind of out there. Like, what is your, your formula? What do you guys do? And again, the reason I ask these questions is because it's a question that a lot of young photographers ask. But I think what they do wrong is the fact that they think that there's this magic,
Magic bullet.
Yeah, or
Panacea.
or this recipe.
Breaking out the dollar words.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I love Panacea. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, sorry.
Top 10 words.
This,
Sorry, here.
No,
We're
you're
word
good.
nerds.
But like, there's this magic recipe of, this is what's gonna get you, to the thing. So.
Yeah. Oh God, there's so much I have to say about this. I don't even know where
Yeah,
to
there
start,
was-
and it's not going to be organized at all. So apologies in advance. I'm going to let you take the creative side.
Yeah, that's a big question because there's so many facets to it. There's the creative, how do we stay creative? And then also how do we basically continue to
But they're also
attract clients and
linked.
get leads?
Because I
And
think
they are
staying
linked, yeah.
creative is what helps us continue to get clients. One of my biggest fears, because let's be honest, we're getting up in age just a little bit. I don't want to be one of those old wedding photographers that everyone looks at and they're like, they're irrelevant. So how do you stay relevant without necessarily just chasing after the trends?
Back in my day.
I do, yeah. I think that it's a very fine line to walk where you can stay relevant and interesting without having to jump from trend to trend. And one of the things we refuse to do is just jump on trends because it exhausts me. I don't want to keep track of what's going on. I don't want to feel like I'm doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So how do we continue to do interesting things without...
Selling out.
Yeah.
We're not on TikTok.
No, we aren't on
We don't
TikTok.
dance in front of the camera, although a couple more of these.
Dude, I
we'll
would,
see.
I would subscribe.
We'll do the tequila dance
He does
from
a-
Pee Wee Herman.
Pretty
You
good
want?
floss.
I'm a good flosser.
He's got the
I don't know
long
why.
limbs.
I think
you
it's because
know?
I'm tall and skinny. That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
No, it's really
All right,
good.
we're screwing this
so,
up.
Okay,
Back
but
on
Do you
track.
want to talk creative or do you want me to talk clients?
Both. You go
Okay.
go clients.
So we'll start with clients. I think I would say the number one thing that helps us is actually listening to people. I know that it's not popular to say do things manually, but I do just about everything manually. We don't use a CRM. Our CRM is me. Sorry, I almost made you spit out tequila.
No, you're a good CRM. Everybody's like, what's your favorite CRM? Is it Dub Sato? Is it 17 Hats? I'm like, yeah, it's Moira B. Kennedy, which is more real.
I don't use that one.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Can I get a subscription?
Sure, yeah, I can get you 30% off code. Just email her.
Yeah, you can't afford me.
And she doesn't have time. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
She's taken.
Yeah. If you build a time machine.
But the
go to
point is
Bahamas.
high touch, right?
Right. Well,
She's very personalized in her approach to.
Yeah, a CRM it's a customer relationship management process. Okay, so most people want that out of the box. My background is an admin. I did a ton of admin work. That was my job essentially before I quit my full-time job. In fact, Jesse would always ask me, he's like, I don't know what to describe, like how to describe what you do. And I was like, well, all the stuff that I do for our business, I just do it for someone else.
Problem solver, I feel like, is the best
Yeah.
descriptor. And that's actually what we put on her business cards is problem solver.
But, coming up with that process, it doesn't matter. So I don't use an out-of-the-box thing. I just have that process. But part of that is talking to me. And the reason I make our clients talk to me is because I want to listen to them and actually listen to them. So I'm not doing questionnaires. I'm not doing contact forms. I have not my phone number. I have a business phone number that they can call and text directly from the website. So if they're scrolling on their phone and they come across our website and they're like, ooh, it's like 11 p.m., I'm just going to text it. Hopefully her phone's off. I get that text and I answer back via text. I don't shut that down. I want to be available to them. Now, the flip side of that is we only do a maximum of 20 weddings a year, so I'm not having a ton of clients contact me all the time. We do that so that we can have that high-touch process with our clients. But if a lead comes in, they have to get on a phone call with me before they book us. I will not just send a contract because it's that interview of like making sure that...
and it's the key. The key is that it's not a sales call. She calls it the good fit phone call because it goes both ways. It's a two-way street where they're kind of vetting us by talking to Moira and see if she's also vetting them and saying, because we're not trying to just book as many weddings as possible. We're trying to book 20 weddings max that are a really good fit. Yeah. And if we don't have 20 couples reach out to us that we feel are a perfect fit, then we'll shoot 15 weddings. We'll shoot 17 weddings.
And in that process, I'm asking them questions that no one else is asking them.
Yeah.
And those questions, and I'm a little bit of a psychology nerd. I love like psychology, sociology books. I'm constantly listening to them. But I use that to think like, okay, how can I ask a question that gets at a deeper answer? Not just, what are your wedding colors? How many people are in your wedding party? I don't want those like really rote things. And, we say that we look for our ideal client based on psychographics, not demographics. And I mean, find me somewhere, buy me tequila. I will tell you all about psychographics versus demographics.
Or come to the workshop next month. Fusion, October 17th to 19th, Woodland Park.
Are we going to have Waterloo there?
We're going to, no, probably not. We might have La Croix or yes. LaCroix.
I prefer La Croix. It makes me feel fancy.
I think that's how it's said in France, no?
Yeah,
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
LaCroix, let's go. Yeah, I told you we're pretentious.
But
what else?
To boil it down, it's like actually listen to your clients. I do my timeline consult over the phone or on a video call. Like I talk to my clients all the time. I make sure that they're comfortable reaching out to me all the time. And the number of people who book us simply because I had a conversation with them is just, no, they like the work too, obviously. Like the work kind of filters out all the tire kickers first. But so many people feel like it's refreshing to be seen as a person instead of just a number in the wedding season and a paycheck.
A key point here, though, is that our website, I feel like, does a really good job of kind of filtering out people that aren't a great fit for us. So we're not getting a ton of leads every year. Yeah. We get maybe 75 to 100 leads a year. And of those, we need to convert 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So our leads are
if we got 500
quality
leads a year, we would certainly have to use like a traditional CRM. Yeah. But we're smaller volume. We don't get that many people reaching out to us, and that's how we want it.
Yeah.
So Moira has time to do an hour-long phone call with a prospective couple, and then at the end she might decide, well, this isn't a great fit, but she's all right sacrificing that hour, and maybe she learned something in the process.
Well, I mean, the other benefit of that is Colorado is a very tight-knit wedding community that values community over competition. And we know so many, again, like you saw how hard it was for us to just narrow down the number of amazing photographers that we know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if I spend an hour on a phone call with a couple, and it turns out that, maybe they're way off on price, that we're just so far out of their budget they can't stretch. Or, maybe there's something there that's not a great fit. I have learned so much about them that I can send them to the right photographer for them. And I tell them, I'm like, I want, like, the reason we're doing this very, like, non-millennial, low-tech, let's get on a phone, a phone call and have a conversation thing, is so that I can get to know them better than a back and forth via email or just answering questions on a questionnaire. And in getting to know them, I want to make sure life is too short to have shitty wedding photos. Sorry, can I swear on that?
Absolutely,
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Oh, we can.
Yes.
I was trying to. I thought you
I
said
was
keep.
trying hard
I thought you
not
said
to.
keep it.
Keep
it clean.
No, I said
Not
like graphic.
dirty, like
What's that? Graphic.
like
porn.
Oh, we're not doing.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're
No.
not doing porn in here, guys.
Yes,
I think we all
just,
know that.
Yes.
like-
Yeah.
Okay.
But absolutely.
But life is too short for people to have wedding photos that they regret or that they
Shitty
don't
wedding
love.
photos, like you said.
Correct. And there are enough amazing photographers in Colorado that I truly believe there's the right fit for everyone. And if we're not them, we can help them find it.
And that's good for everybody. That's good for us because
Absolutely.
we don't have to then
And
fit a square peg into a round hole. That's good for the couple because they're going to get a photographer that's a better fit for them.
Exactly.
And it's good for the other photographer that we're recommending because they get another gig and they're going to refer back to us when they get an inquiry that's not perfect for them, but it's perfect.
And I
for
think,
us.
and I think one of the biggest things right now in our wedding industry is that photographers are trying to the one-stop shop type stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that changed my entire career. I was very similar to you guys. I took a limited amount of weddings. I did 24 weddings a year, which averaged out to about 2 a month. And since the majority, 90% of everything that I shot was outside of Texas, and then 70% of that was outside of the country, it worked out fine. But also the one thing, by making that conscious change of, being able to have the knowledge of what your client is, of what you're doing and all that stuff, it kind of makes you a lot more personal. It makes it personal. And then that's when you realize that not every client is your client. That I made a conscious freaking effort from the beginning to say that not every client is my client. The first 3 years that we started, everything that came in, oh, absolutely, yeah, you want this, you want a engagement session with an album, with everything else. Here it is, $800, And yeah, of course, you have 60 weddings.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you realize that you show up to a wedding, and that was actually the very true story. When I showed up, and at that time, Nancy, my wife, was shooting with me, and we show up, and these people had beat us down to like the cheapest they could get us. They gave us a sob story, they gave us all this stuff, and then we show up to the wedding, and they have imported chocolate from Switzerland. And then you realize that their wedding cake was worth, or they paid more for the wedding cake than they did for the wedding photos.
Yeah.
And I was pissed.
Yeah.
And it became, but like you said, it's kind of one of those things that because you were taking it, because you weren't personal, because all of that stuff, you were just kind of, and so that's very commendable. It really is, to try to be able to do that and to be able to pass that on to other photographers when they're not your fit. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
So we had a conversation in our workshop alumni group the other day about, I think someone had
And
asked,
this is your Facebook group.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So anyone who takes our workshop, we have an alumni group where everybody kind of goes in, and it's just a nice space where you can go for friendly critiques. You're not going to be torn down like some Facebook groups, or
Unless you want to be torn down.
yeah, Jesse is.
We can do
willing
that
to
too.
that.
I'm joking. We
but
won't
somebody-
tear you down,
yes.
even if you ask for it.
Somebody had asked about. It was actually Stacey Adams out of California had asked about our album process, and it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. But one of the conversations that came out of that was, in doing the extra work in advance, you're saving yourself on the back end. when you spend that time on the phone with a couple, really getting to know them, whether it's during the lead call or during a timeline consultation, we get way fewer questions and requests on the back end because everything has been set up. So it's really just like you spend that time, you walk people through the process in order to save the time later with complaints or, critiques or concerns or anything like that. You spend that time to make people feel comfortable. And that's worth it to me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that, what do you think, currently the current state of, after COVID and everything that's kind of happened, what do you think the current state of the industry is?
That's kind of funny you're asking that right now because I've been working on our talk for the 9 Dots conference in Leeds, United Kingdom,
in the UK, right?
In November.
Uh-huh.
And that's exactly what it's about. Basically, like it goes a little bit left of that, but
join us in Leeds.
So I've been working for join us in Leeds. I don't know if there's tickets left, but you can check it out.
Guys, or you could have just joined on here and then you didn't have to go.
Basically,
all the way to Leeds.
we're here just to show. So I'm not answering that question. You have to come to night.
No, but so really quick, I do want to talk about 9 Dots because 9 Dots, it's actually even myself, something that I haven't been able to go. I wanted to go so bad, in November, especially, because you guys are going to be there and it's a bunch of of amazing photographers. So if you're from here and you're on the fence of going, I'm pretty sure they're sold out. As far as I know, I thought they were sold out.
If
Not,
please, if
not, please correct me. But 9 Dots, I've heard nothing but absolutely great things about that conference.
Us too.
I haven't been able to go to it, and is one that's in my book that hopefully I'll be able to make it one day.
And also turning it into a little bit of a vacation.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We had a trip planned to Scotland for June of 2020. And obviously didn't happen.
Guess what happened with that one?
So yeah, we've always been kind of looking at that conference just to go as attendees. So when they reached out, we were like, oh, that's great. And it's going to be in Leeds, which is closer to Scotland. So we're going to fly in a week early, go see some castles, drink a little bit of scotch, do some hikes. Right. And then we have a 2-day layover in Iceland too, which we're pretty excited about.
Dude, okay, so this is where you're gonna have to do this for me more. When you guys go down into in Scotland, you go drinking. You go to any pub over there, and you're drinking scotch, and let them get a little scotched it up.
Me?
Yes.
You're talking to her.
Oh,
no,
okay.
to you. And she's gonna you're gonna be in the pub. You're gonna be in the pub.
I can hear you really well through this.
And I want you and this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna get in front, you're gonna get to whoever's drinking your drink, and you're gonna go like, Captain, the lithium crystals are breaking up. Oh. You have to do it.
Yeah, quit provoking me.
That's right.
That's so good.
I try.
Look at that.
I have.
No.
So I mean that is the
Yeah.
only Star Trek reference that I have,
Yeah.
and that's from Scotty, and he was Scottish, so you have to do it.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jesse can do the whole speech from Braveheart.
Oh, I'm not going to do that right now. There might be copyright issues too. So I don't think that. Yeah, that's not copacetic.
Maybe, yeah, but if you get face painted and get a wig on it,
I
need a picture of that as well.
I don't want to tear up my throat.
So,
I'll just be silent. Although y'all might want me to.
But
be
you got to do
this.
You got to do the Scotty one.
Yeah,
you have to do the Scotty one.
Well, send it to me in a text. I'm not going to remember that. I need to memorize it.
I'm certainly not going to remember.
So yes. So you guys are here. He's going to do it, and when he does that, we're going to post it. All right.
Okay.
So we're posting it on that. Guys, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. We're reading everything.
Or comments or concerns.
Or comments or anything. Please post them here. We will ask them. They're going to answer everything. Again, I'm on my third one. They're both in their second one.
What? I didn't know we were we're keeping score.
Of course we are.
I see how it was.
Of course.
In college we used to do that with a marker on our arms.
I shouldn't. No. You got to gamify everything, man.
All right. So here we go. Again. I'm about to pour my fourth one. They're still in So
I thought this was like to be, nursed. It's like a special thing. You sip
is.
it.
You do.
And
I am
everything
sipping
in
it.
moderation and all.
I
that,
am
no?
sipping it.
Okay.
You can still sip and enjoy.
Maybe
and
you have
still,
a bigger mouth than we do. I don't know.
That is true.
We've
That is
been
true.
doing most
That
of
is
the
true.
talking.
I mean, literally, not
So.
not metaphorically.
No, I know that. I know. Literally, I know. Again, guys. So let's see what we have. So Charlie said that he wants to do a haiku battle.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
You're gonna
Okay.
beat us
No.
to that,
So-
obviously.
I was like-
is it 575 or is it 797? I can't
bro,
remember.
first of all, like,
I like it. I was so insulted that you didn't know what a haiku was. I'm like, how
I
do
know
you
what
that?
I'm.
No, what the actual numbers are.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I
So
was-
And then-
what are the actual?
It's
and then he also
575.
So I
he
did
also
know what it
said
was.
he also said that the Art Institute closed all of his remaining campuses,
Oh,
which
think
I
read
thought
that
I
and
thought they had closed a long time ago.
The
my
Art
bad.
Institute, what's that?
I don't.
The
know.
Art Institute, yeah,
We
it
don't-
was
I don't-
I'm not-
AI.
I don't know
like, yeah, I thought they, yeah, my bad, dude. I thought they were closed a long time
Okay,
ago.
but let's talk
I didn't even know
haikus
that.
because I find that way more interesting.
Okay, let's.
No.
So we're gonna talk haiku.
No, okay.
All right, here we go.
This is actually
Let's get your best haiku.
one of the things-
Impromptu haiku.
No, I can't
off
do
the
an
top of your
impromptu
head.
haiku. But what? So like when you're doing the same thing day after day, and for me that's usually answering emails. I like to set myself little challenges. And one day I've always wanted to do a challenge where I only answer emails in haiku, and see if anyone notices.
That's actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk a little bit.
He's like, let's not talk
no,
about
No,
haikus.
no,
Yeah,
no,
we're not talking about
it's
that.
it has to go about haiku
Okay.
because we're actually. So as you know, we launched a new branch of Gikoto, which goes into like streaming, gaming, and all that stuff. Lighting for like podcasts such as this, everything that you see here.
And by the way,
is-
this is a beautiful lighting setup, man. I've just been sitting here like admiring this. I'm interested in you talking also.
Oh,
Don't
absolutely.
get me wrong.
No, yeah,
But,
go for it.
Like I'm looking around, I'm like, this is really well done, and I want this for my office.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. Javier knocked it out of the park
Javier,
with
nice
all
job.
this,
Cheers
with
again,
all
man.
this stuff. The one thing that I do going back into a haiku and the reason I brought that up is because there's actually a video game that I absolutely love, and it's called Ghost of Tsushima. One of the most
I saw
beautiful
a video from that.
dude.
the
One of
other
the
day
most
on
beautiful
YouTube, yeah.
video games I've ever
It's
played.
the samurai one,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Side
And-
scrolling.
Yep. And the whole thing, there's actually parts of where you actually sit down and you write haikus throughout the video.
No
game.
shit.
It's actually really cool. It's
shoot.
it's a really it's an awesome game. So if you guys haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, go play it. It's fantastic. It is as far as I know right now, it's only a PlayStation exclusive.
I think it's on the
So-
what's the Nintendo thing that go
The Wii?
Switch.
The Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I knew it was PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure it's on the
If
Nintendo
Javier,
Switch.
if he's the gamer, he's the one that's in charge of the gaming play. If you remember,
If anyone
Javier,
has access to Google
so,
right now,
yeah,
Google
or if
it.
you have access to Google, let me know if
have
Ghost of
access.
Tsushima.
You have your phone.
I'm not going to get out.
So,
I'm not going to look at my
That's-
phone
that's
while we're
very
doing
kind.
this.
So-
That's true.
now let's go back a little bit. Now that we talked about haikus and we talked about leads
That was
and
on my
everything
list
else.
of like shit to talk about
Yeah.
during this.
So
Haiku.
yeah,
Make
leads.
sure you
How
get
did you get started in
Thanks,
photography?
Charles.
That's
Haikus.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
If you were to go back 10 years from now, what would be one note of advice that you would give to your former selves,
To ourselves. So
to yourselves?
Okay.
Currently, from what you're doing now to 10 years ago.
So many.
I would say the same advice that I would give myself today, and it's that none of this stuff matters as much as you think it does. I think
Elaborate.
well, we get mired in the minutia, especially with social media.
Was that a haiku? Almost. You're almost there.
No.
Sorry. Continue.
Thank you. No, like social media helps us get mired in the minutia. Oh, that's Jesse's. I have mine here below the desk.
Waiting on you, man. The cap's on. Yeah, that's what happens. Sorry.
Yeah, he's on.
I'm not
going to
throw him under
yeah.
the bus. Hiram
No.
definitely did not just try to pour that with the cap. in.
I
it
did
did
not.
happen.
It did not happen.
Putting that off, taking that off of the record.
No, I think for
Sorry.
me, and
That
I'm
was-
going to
that
speak
was
a
funny.
little bit for Jesse too, because I know that we're similar in this. I think we can easily get bogged down in just the day-to-day, the minutia, the like, what does everyone think of us? What do we think of ourselves? And, so one of the things that a lot of our clients hire us for and that, a lot of photographers want to learn about is astrophotography. And we do a lot of that. And when we teach that, Jesse talks, and I'm going to punt it over to you, volleyball, bump it. I don't know, whatever. I don't know the sports.
I'm ready.
Bump, set, spike.
Yeah, pass it on
Yeah,
over.
so
Bump,
so
set,
You
spike.
set them up, I'll knock them down.
All right, I'm gonna set it over to you.
Okay.
But one of the things that we talk about is why we like to do that on a wedding day, and when he goes out to get the shot prepared before we bring the couple out, what that experience means. Do you know?
Is that sorry? What we're talking about? What advice we would give ourselves 10 years ago?
My advice is none of it is as important as you think it is.
Okay, yeah. So I see where you're going with it. Yeah, I mean, no. What I do love about
same brain, just sometimes the neurons don't connect.
well, we're being force-fed tequila. And I'm
That's
joking.
true.
We're not being force-fed.
I was
We're
like,
willing participants.
I was gonna say I did not force feed you tequila.
Think
SOS.
twice.
SOS. So that's what I like living. That's what I like about living in Colorado in general. Honestly, is so we have this house up on a hill with 50 acres, and we're totally surrounded by this 360 view of mountains. And every morning we wake up thinking, how fortunate are we to be able to live in this incredibly awe-inspiring place and see this every morning. And to see the Milky Way with our naked eyes, we realize that the universe we're so infinitesimal compared to that, right? So which also then makes our problems and our insecurities and our anxieties and all the drudgeries that we face throughout the day, right? Just like you said, the minutia of it all.
But
you realize all that stuff is obnoxious and you do get mired in it, but then when you're able to step out of it, take a hike, be in nature, you kind of are able to see the forest for the trees a little bit, and you realize it all really doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, we're here for a blip on the radar, right? So
See, and this is go ahead.
Well, I think that some people hear none of this matters as a depressing thing. Why even bother?
right.
I
And it's
hear
totally the opposite
none of this
for us.
matters as that means you can do whatever the fuck you want. You
Yeah.
know, just try something new. If you fail, who cares?
Yeah.
And he mentioned the mountains. Not only are they beautiful, they've also been there so much longer than we have.
Yeah.
And they're going to be there so much longer than we are. And it's having it there in Colorado to me is a constant reminder where, there are days when I don't see the mountains because I am bogged down. And then there are days that I wake up and I look at it. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
I can just.
So to bring it back to the question, my specific advice would be just relax. It's gonna be fine. This, whatever you're concerned about right now, whatever your ego is telling you, I'm not, we're not hitting these marks or whatever, because it's always, no matter where you get to, there's always going to be you're always thinking about what you don't have, right?
Yeah.
You're always focusing on, this other person is more successful. There's always going to be someone more successful than you, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone who's better or more talented. So I think it's just probably a natural part of the aging process too, is the older you get, the more maybe you chill out a little bit and you're not quite so not everything is such a crisis, we don't have such high highs and low lows anymore. Time to time, anybody, of course.
Right.
But we try to maintain somewhat of an even keel, and we just recognize stay the course. If it's not going well right now, things are going to turn. There are ebbs and flows, and you just have to sip a bit of tequila, and you'll get
There
through
you go. So and this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to make GTS this right here, because everyone at some point or another, I remember when I first got started. And I would look at these photographers that just seemed kind of untouchable, that they were doing these fantastic things. And I was getting, crapped on from clients, from colleagues, from all of that stuff. And it just seemed like these people that I looked up to never did, And then later on, I realized that wasn't true, that they were just, were getting just as crapped on as much as I was, if not worse at times. But that I didn't realize that until I myself started kind of becoming an educator and I had people. And the number one thing that I said was I never want to kind of give this false sense of who I am to people. Mm-hmm. So anytime that I was invited to speak or have a workshop or anything like that, I answered every question that was asked. I was, and it kind of, you try to stay grounded as much as possible to show, the next generation of photographers that, we provide a service. We're photographers. You're not a rock star. There's no reason to be a diva or anything like that. None of these awards really mean anything, because at the bottom, with the awards that I was able to, and lucky enough to get and stuff like that, not a single one of my clients hired me because of the awards. It was because of what somebody else, referred me. But the main thing that they said was, we hired you because you came highly recommended from these people that we highly trust. And that to me was phenomenal when it came to it. So that was one of the reasons why, for example, now, that you guys said that you guys, get that pressure, or you guys start looking into, social media and start getting that anxiety like everybody does. So that's great. That's great to hear.
Quick practical takeaway from this. I just want to mention awards and SEO specifically. Oh, yeah. So,
that's a good.
It is kind of like a popular refrain to say like awards don't actually get you clients, but allow me to suggest this.
Absolutely.
So if you
Please.
Google, say, Colorado wedding photographer, what doesn't come up, because we don't do SEO, because we just don't, there's not enough hours in the day.
We don't aggressively do
We
SEO.
don't
we do the baseline that you need to do,
Right.
I think, to be a business.
But we're not going to come up at the top. But what is going to come up pretty close to the top is fearless photographers. Come on, man, get it together.
I didn't know it was that far.
Fearless Photographers Colorado
Yes.
directory, right? And I think it was in 2019, because we had the number 1 and 2 spot on Fearless Photographers Colorado. We got like almost 2/3 of our inquiries were from Fearless.
So that's like us outsourcing our SEO.
That's like
We don't wanna do it.
instead of there's a quote from the Atomic Habits book that goes something like, if you can't win at the game everyone is playing, play a different game, or play your own game, or something like that. So that's a way of playing your own game, right? Like there isn't just one way to do SEO, right? We're getting on the front page by getting in a directory. And for me, it's a lot more fun to enter awards than it is to sit there and figure out how to do SEO, which is changing every day. So anyways, that was just an aside, but a practical takeaway for anyone interested.
Sponsored
but
by.
you do have to, sponsored by Waterloo.
Really
Peach
quick.
sparkling water.
Really quick, guys, if you guys are having audio problems, let us know. We did get a message from someone saying that there was cut out. So if that's happening to everybody, please let us know.
It's probably mine.
To make sure that we get this
Testing 1 2 1 2.
that we get this fixed. So
Red leather, yellow leather. Oh yeah, that's a lot harder now.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
That's my part. I don't know the follow-up part.
so
Anybody? Can
No.
somebody toss a comment in there saying if it's no? Good.
Hot mic.
Hot mic. Hot mic.
So, great. So that's great to hear. That's great to hear that, you guys, as successful as you guys are, you still have the same pressures as.
Well, and I love that you started this, like you said, to show our humanity. We were having that conversation before we started, and Jesse and I are like, well, what's okay to say, what's not? And you're like, just about everything.
Yeah.
you got a comment there. Is it
because
working?
There we go.
You do want to hear.
It said it's good now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Let us know if it doesn't work.
Yeah, if
Otherwise, it's just 3 people sitting in a room drinking tequila, which is cool too,
Which
by
is
the way.
like a Tuesday night.
Which is just,
it is
it's literally a
Tuesday.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
No, but I think about that all the time because I think we're in an interesting situation where, like, it's a huge honor to know that people look up to us, and we don't take that lightly. And it also feels very strange because we had one day where we were being interviewed for a podcast, and I think it was like, I don't know if it was 9 Dots or This Is Reportage or something, but it was like across the world. And that morning, I literally got a pen stuck in my hair. And I was like upside down trying to like pull it out. And I'm like, this is such a human thing and such a stupid thing for me to do. And then I'm going to go on this podcast that other people are going to listen to and be like, oh, like we loved hearing you and this and that. And it's like, it's weird because like we're still human at the end of the day. Like,
There's a photographer. One of our photographer friends has a quote that he always says, "No one is as successful as they look."
Oh yeah,
I have no idea if we look like we're successful. I don't feel like I look kind of like a schlub, but
I don't know.
I think it's true. Like, no, regardless of who you're looking at, I think that we all, have the same insecurities and hopes and dreams and fears and anxieties and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So, guys, if you guys have any questions or anything, again, please let us know on this. Otherwise, we're halfway through the bottle and we're doing fantastic. So I'm going to keep asking. You just say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
No, don't apologize.
All right.
I'm really good at asking for what I need.
There you go.
or taking it, yeah.
Spoken like someone who lives with me.
No, it's a good thing.
I know. I think it's a good thing.
Which is that was actually so. There are a lot of photographers, but there aren't a lot of couple wedding photographers. Within our ambassadors, we have obviously you guys, and then we have the Marinos, who are couples.
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic.
And soon there'll be a third.
Oh, we're not saying who though, huh?
Nope.
No, we're not saying who. Soon we'll be releasing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe by the end of that bottle.
No,
By the end of that bottle, we'll tell you who the new couple ambassador.
I won't.
No.
I
What
won't.
we should
to.
end it is we should start saying it, and he should just cut us off.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
new ambassador is.
So, in that, like, what are the challenges of working, as a couple, as a married couple?
Yeah,
I think that's the number one question that we get.
that is.
Do you want to take it? Or
We should answer it that a different way every time.
Oh, we should.
So
Okay, so
This is the
time-
first time you're going to change it from all the other answers. So, all right
Yeah,
ahead.
so if you've listened to everything else, you already know our actual answer. But this one
no,
is,
we don't need to change it.
No, you say
I'll
you're going to
I'll
change
just
it.
Yeah, I
give them the real
couldn't think
answer.
of it.
Okay, for us, the key is taking time apart, right? Because like when you live together, work together, travel together, we have this giant house now, so we can kind of like
Sit right next to
isolate
each other.
ourselves in different parts of the house. And we have separate offices, which is wonderful. That's made a
We have
huge
wings.
difference. But we have to be very intentional about having our own interests outside of one another. Like we're very much a couple, but we're also very much independent people in our own individuals at the same time. So, I'll go on a 15-mile hike that takes me all day long by myself.
Not intentionally.
What?
Well, that was the 20-mile hike.
I felt like I was in a flow there, and now I don't know where I was
Sorry.
going.
Yes.
All right.
No, you're gonna do your own thing.
I
You're
do
gonna
my
go
own
on
thing.
a
She gets the house to herself. Then she goes out and does her own thing. We'll even take separate like mini vacations sometimes where one of us will like rent an Airbnb in the mountains this is before we bought this new house, but for like 3-4 days while the other stays at home, just to have our own space. And we don't really like call each other on the phone or even text. We just take those few days to have time apart, because there's like that old adage that absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? And it's also just like, even if it's your favorite person in the world, which I think you're mine, I'm probably not yours, I don't know, maybe top 10. But
He's my favorite.
even if it's your favorite person in the world, if you're with someone 24/7 all the time, you're going to start to not, get annoyed by that person, right? So like the best thing to do is just step away. There's always like every
absolutely.
wedding, every fucking wedding toast is like, we can swear, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Every fucking
late.
wedding toast is like, never go to bed angry, right? But sometimes, honestly, if like you're having an argument and not making any headway, sometimes the best thing to do is just stop talking for a minute.
Yeah.
Just go your separate ways. Like,
Yeah.
if you have trust in that relationship and you respect each other, you're going to come back.
Yeah.
You're going to realize like I was being unreasonable. You're both going to realize that, and you're going to come back, and it's going to be fine. Like you don't need to just like keep pounding stone against stone if it's not working out, right?
Yeah.
Go to bed angry. That's fine. Sleep in separate rooms. Like
Oh yeah, we do that actually.
what do
weddings.
kids say these days? Unpopular opinion.
Which,
Yeah.
and the thing about it is it's, like Nancy and I, she shot with me for a while, but obviously, we have 3 kids and she's a hell of a lot more responsible than I am. So,
Oh,
we
saw her with the kids earlier today. That woman
Yeah.
is a force. of
She's
nature.
good.
Absolutely.
She is,
Yeah.
She had it
she's
together.
amazing.
She's like controlling the
I know.
conversation.
Not
She's
even
good.
just like not breaking a sweat, and it was like 98 degrees.
Yeah.
and she's
She's
just like,
amazing.
All right. Yep.
What was their single? 98 degrees. I can't remember. Was that bye?
That was in sync, bro.
That's
In
okay.
sync.
I'm a little concerned that you know that, but all right.
Oh, dude, I was a backup dancer for In Sync.
You told me that once, and now I'm remembering. Oh shit, man. Okay.
It was only for the Lubbock tour.
But
it
that's
wasn't
still-
I didn't travel. With
After seeing you
NSYNC.
dance at Coyote Ugly in Denver,
Oh, yeah, I
I'd believe it. Yeah. The first time you told me that, I hadn't seen you dance.
Wait,
so I was
what?
So here him comes to conferences as a sponsor and gets too drunk to remember dancing at Coyote Ugly.
I've never been drunk at a
WAP.
conference.
It was WAP.
I remember that, but I was like,
Yeah.
but really, like,
You
the
don't-
highlight of that Coyote night was 2 Jessies in a hoop.
Two
yes.
Jessies and a hula hoop.
That's right. Exactly.
I have
Me
video.
and Jesse Starr from Colorado.
From Colorado,
Met
correct.
each other for the first time in Austin at Friends of Fearless. And we're like, you're from Colorado? I'm from Colorado. You're Jesse? I'm Jesse.
The Jessies.
Let's dance in a hula
In a
hoop.
hula hoop, correct? Yes, and here's a big misconception of and actually Nancy and I were talking about this the other day. People were like, oh my god, you go? I do. I was like, but I've never get drunk. I was like, but I do like to have fun, absolutely, and I will have fun with every single. So I thought you were saying that I was dancing NSYNC at Coyote Ugly, and there was like.
No,
No.
I just
like-
meant
No, but
after
just
seeing
know
after
your
seeing
move.
your
The
body
walk.
move,
Oh,
I could tell.
I was like,
I was like, this guy.
and I walked
Is a professional.
of all things.
If I can't get Moira to smack her face with her hand at least once, I haven't done my job.
I was just about to
So-
do it again, and now I'm self-conscious.
I'm just
about it.
appreciating. I'm appreciating the man's body.
But fantastic.
Hey, the tequila idea was yours.
Hey, it was
It's-
absolutely, and this is
I'm
why it
assuming
goes
you
all
want
the
it
way.
to be nice,
So
nice and
no,
loose.
absolutely
So-
no. But going back to the questions about the couple, I mean, and that's fantastic, and I think there's and the Marinos, also, which they're supposed to be coming here as well, and they're gonna get the exact same question. So hopefully they're not listening but that's great, and those are things.
Just drank in sync. Speaking of
In sync.
Oh, Jesus, we need to spend more time apart.
Can we get a little
That's
bit of the bye
sign,
bye bye
yeah.
dance or no?
No,
Come on,
no,
man.
no,
I
you missed it.
apologize.
You missed it.
I interrupted.
So no. But I think that that the part, and I think that's great advice. And and I have a very hard time, and my wife knows this, that the whole part of me walking away from conversations, I don't do that very well. Mine is kind of like, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk, we're gonna talk, and to me it's so I do, and those are things that as couples and stuff like that you have to learn throughout a marriage. And I don't understand why this woman has spent. We just celebrated our 16-year anniversary on my birthday.
Congrats,
on the
man.
15th.
Cheers.
And we've been together for 19 years, but I have no idea how this woman done it. Plain and simple, So,
Yeah.
now let's go back into the photography realm of what you're doing. Do you think that wedding photographers have an expiration date? That is a question that I regularly ask from people, and I knew the answer when I first got into wedding photography, but I'm curious to hear.
Just as a broad, general blanket question,
Yeah.
like wedding photographers in general,
Yeah,
or
just-
for us
yes.
specifically.
Yes. Do you want me to elaborate?
Just
or
a
is that
one-
Just a yes
one
or
word.
no
No,
question? Okay.
we're gonna elaborate a little bit, but so
Yes.
yes for
Next
Moira.
question.
Yeah, no. Next question.
This is like the post football game press conference. Yes, I answer your question. Next one. No,
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Marshawn Lynch fans out there? Anybody?
yes.
No? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
There's like
yes,
no feedback here except for Hiram, who's just
I
like
know.
snickering at us. All right. Sorry, man. We're
No,
getting get this train on the tracks.
Yes, but I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's when you're done. And hopefully when you're done a year in advance, because unfortunately we're on that year-long cycle, and I hate to see anyone phone it in for a year. But yeah, when you don't find enjoyment in it, you should be done. Even if that's early on. And I know we were talking about this actually earlier today with Charles, is like there are people who do this, like, so they get into photography and wedding photography specifically because they like photography as a hobby. And there's this overwhelming pressure in the United States to monetize your hobby. I mean, honestly, monetize anything that you do slightly well. And so people then get into wedding photography without understanding that it's still a job. So, you know, like Jesse mentioned in the beginning when we were more sober, we get a lot of fulfillment from this. And that every year is kind of our check-in. It's like, are we still getting fulfillment from this? And if the answer is ever no, then that's our expiration date. And I think we're going to see that on the horizon, I hope, before, so we can kind of like fade it out. But, you know, sometimes the question is like, okay, if we aren't getting fulfillment, can we change how we do it? And we sat down in, was it 2019, I think, or 2020? We went on this ski trip. And I remember sitting in a bar in Park City saying, okay, how did we feel about our clients last year? And we ranked them on, would we grab a beer with them, or do we never want to see them again? And then I think we had neutral.
Those were the like
Yes.
extremes of that spectrum, right?
Yeah. And we looked at the year before, and we felt like there weren't enough have a beer with them. And then we looked at 2 years back, and there were more have a beer with them. And then we sat there and we tried, and of course we were drinking the entire time, but we sat there and tried to figure out like, okay, what's the difference? And I think part of it was that we figured out was like one of those years we were too caught up in doing other things that we weren't able to spend more time getting to know our clients. And so again, like circling back to spending that time getting to know our clients, that feeds into us continuing to enjoy what we do. And if we aren't doing that, then that's our expiration date.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
and with the age thing, like
I mean,
in general,
my knees hurt
I
sometimes.
I try to see people as people and not as, you know, if I'm talking to children, I don't like try to pander to them and talk down. If I'm talking to the elderly, I try not to pander to them. I try to treat everybody as an individual, right? So just as a broader, you know, look at this, like I don't think, there is like, 50, you can't shoot weddings after 50. It's like, well, who are you as a person? You know, what are your passions and your, like, how, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's timeless, and that also feeds into staying creative. And I realize we never touch back on that, like how do we stay creative piece.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, is getting to know them as people. Then we ask ourselves, how can we take photos that we know that that this particular person will love because of who they are as a person.
There are times where, like, we definitely notice now that, we're older than pretty much all of our couples, and it's like,
Yeah, they don't get my Austin Powers references.
yeah, it's yeah.
You know, we'll go back to that in just a minute. Please remind me.
You were
because
born in the okay.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
at the same time,
the hardest
everything
thing,
I just said still applies,
dude,
right?
yeah, the hardest thing is I was at a wedding, and I was talking to a teenager, and obviously, you know, I'm much older.
Wait, you're not a teenager?
Oh, dude, you're like what, 22?
That's
Are you
right,
old enough
yeah.
to drink? Give me this tequila.
I was like, but so he, so I told him, I was like, yeah, I was born in 1977, and he was like, oh my God, you were born in the 1900s. And I was like,
Come here, you little
the
whippersnapper.
1900s.
I was like, I was like, what? And then, but he wasn't wrong though. He wasn't wrong, and I was like, yeah. But going back to the question, I mean, yeah, like you guys said, I mean, and in a way, I definitely think that there's an expiration date. Absolutely, I knew when mine was, and then I figured. To me, I was like, I can't be shooting weddings past 50. I'm 46 now. I just turned 46. And I stopped shooting weddings much a lot less than 50. But then I see people like Marcos, who's older than me.
No shit.
Yeah, and he looks like he's 25.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so Marcos, I'm giving a
Sunscreen?
I was like, I'm giving a shout out to you. Like, this boy is like CrossFit master. Like, he is.
What are they putting in the water down there in
I
Mexico?
have no idea. Look at this. Look at this. And then look at Marcos, and he doesn't have one single gray hair. And then look like an Adonis.
Yeah,
I mean,
no kidding.
We were talking about this too earlier because we drove by on one of the many highways in Dallas.
Yeah. How many highways do you have?
A lot.
All of
damn.
them.
30,
fun
20,
fact,
183.
I'm never on the right
35.
one. I'm always like, oh, shit.
all of the
I'm
highways
supposed to be on that one over
in the
there.
United States actually are in Dallas.
Say that again?
I said, fun fact, all of the highways in the United States actually are in Dallas.
The intersect in Dallas.
Like and subscribe for more wrong facts.
The more you know.
They don't all. No, that's
No.
Not all of them, but.
No, see, that's the thing. It's like
That's a joke.
The more
I thought you were
say,
trying
I
to
was
be
like-
serious.
Okay, all right. So here's
It's like
something
Highway
to know about
90,
me.
Highway 80, 70. None of those go through.
I learn enough about everything to bullshit my way through anything.
Yeah, I just know a lot
So-
about highways.
Now, a lot of them do intersect in Texas, but not through Dallas.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, there's a ton that
Okay,
go through.
I also have to say, I keep adjusting my headphones because my head is too small and they keep sliding back and back and back. And then I'm like, okay. Anyway,
What topic are we on here?
highways.
Highways.
No,
So-
I was going to say, I know enough. So I bullshit a lot.
All right, what do we have in the chat?
So only believe half
Marcos,
of what I'm saying.
Marcos sent a comment,
And he
and
said
it's
something.
yeah. So one of the things it was a few years back, I saw Marcos, and I was like, bro, I gotta do something. And he's the one actually that kind of lit a fire under my behind, and got me into training. Started getting back on it. So I do have a lot to. I owe a lot to them in trying to get me back into shape. Number one, but the one thing that they have in Mexico is fotógrafo con panza no es de confianza. So a raw direct translation is a fat photographer, you shouldn't trust him.
That's brilliant.
I mean, there's some weight to that, right?
And I was like,
did you do that?
Oh,
on
I
purpose?
didn't. No pun intended.
well,
for
congrats.
real. But
And-
yeah, like you got to get down, you got to get up. You
oh,
gotta
absolutely.
Move fast, for
And
sure.
that was one of the things that when I was going back into like expiration dates, towards the end part of my career as a wedding photographer, I did a lot of South Asian weddings and multiple days or whatever, and I would shoot one of those weddings and then I was out for a week, and a lot of it to me. It was my fault in the fact that I was out of shape. I was just, working all the time, traveling and doing all that stuff, typical excuses, but as such, you also, if you want to last in this career, you have to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I think for me, at least, growing up in Montana and skiing, and living in Colorado and skiing, you always end up on the ski lift with the old dude who skis every day, who's like 80 years old, and you talk to them, and you get off the lift saying, "I want to be him. Like I want to be that guy who is still skiing at 80 years old," and they're always like, first chair. They ski for half the day, then they go back and they
have a
walk
nice
their
little
dog.
lunch.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic.
They read a book.
My father-in-law, he's done 50 plus 14ers in Colorado, goes every year. He's 75.
Yeah.
75.
There's so much of that in Colorado.
And doing these things that most people, half of his age, including myself, can't even dream about. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. It's great. And it goes back to that.
It gives you something to strive for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It gives you, sorry.
You need to do something with this cord, man.
It's
It's
a tight cord.
age is a state
But
of
yeah.
mind for sure. And it's taking care of yourself and how you think and how
But
you
I
treat
think-
your body by drinking a fifth of tequila during an interview.
But having those, seeing that regularly, because even hiking, I've been passed by octogenarians. Now,
Well, you
I
have
have asthma.
Yeah, that's you can't. Are you on camera? Or are we on camera?
We're
you just
on
want
camera.
you just want me to know that. Okay.
All right.
Here, I'm still keeping score. He's still keeping score, guys.
I've been counting too, and I'm on 10.
I've been counting also, and I'm on 14 sips. 14 sips. Suck
So
it, she
go-
says. There's no porno in this. That's the
I'm
one
on
rule
10.
he gave us. He's like, you got one rule. No porno.
No, I'm talking about lollipops. What are you talking about?
You're talking about tequilas. Sipping on the tequila.
So going back
boy.
into
I've watched
This
these
is what
with
you
everyone
want, though,
else.
right? Like,
And I've
hey, by
seen
the way,
this point.
Christian, I know you're probably
Exactly.
not watching. You're a busy
Christian.
dude. But Christian, if you see this at some point, or I can tell you in person next month at the workshop that we have 2 spots left for.
Wait, sponsored by?
Sponsored by Geeko. Oh,
what?
Waterloo. Peach.
What?
Peach from the Loo of the
I keep
water.
trying, because if anyone's playing along and they're taking shots.
I just
I'm
want to
trying
say that
get
Christian,
people
we
to-
we saw your episode here and you didn't have any tequila. We were a little disappointed. That's all. We weren't mad. We were just disappointed. Okay.
So you know what we're gonna do? So I think we are going to get another bottle, and that's gonna be Christian's bottle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he has basically
And
3 days?
No,
of
he
the
has one
workshop?
day. He has 2 hours to drink the whole thing
Oh,
while we ask him questions.
okay. All right. We'll take this one mobile. We'll take this
Christian's a
blue one and
whiskey
see
guy
what we
too.
can do.
He really likes Colorado whiskey, especially
Yes.
Breckenridge bourbon.
We
always bring him a bottle of Breckenridge. We forgot to bring it to him in Mexico for our last workshop in
I think
Guadalajara.
we were over the baggage limit.
Okay. Either way, we owe him 2. Oh no, we owe him more bottles because he translated for
We
us.
owe him so many
And he had
bottles.
so much to translate.
Yes.
We tried a little bit of Spanish at the beginning. We did some intros, but after that, it was
Un
all on
poquito de
Christian.
español.
Okay, so let's. all right.
Next question. Next
Salud.
question.
Fantastic.
Here,
All right,
I think you
salud.
have one. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Salud.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Cut these guys off.
cut
I
'em
haven't
off.
bumped into anything yet.
We
but
haven't
that's
spilled
because
anything
I
yet,
don't
though.
have
I'm
these.
surprised.
No,
you
no,
got
that which is fantastic. It's
Okay.
great. So with being, you guys have been in Colorado for 16 years. I think we were talking about, that earlier. So has your entire career been in Colorado as when it comes to wedding photography?
Yeah, the move to Colorado coincided almost exactly with the switch to weddings from newspapers for me. And then, like we said, Moira had a full-time job for the
ASMR.
first 6 years. But yeah, so it started like within a couple months of us moving to Colorado. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Moira, going to you. Basically, from earlier today, you were saying you basically got the cliff notes of to shoot the day of, or at least that's when you read them or whatnot. Did you know
Hey,
at
I
that?
had a full-time job. Okay, I was busy
Absolutely,
doing other
yes.
things.
And then she looked at it and she's like, what the fuck are these numbers?
I did.
It was like,
I
just
did.
move those
know-
dials around, see what happens.
You know what? One of the greatest
Trial and
things.
error.
Do you guys know Daniel Aguilar, photographer from Mexico?
Mas,
you know
más
Daniel.
despacio, por favor.
Daniel
Aguilar.
Oh,
Aguilar.
yes, yeah.
Danny Aguilar.
Yeah.
Like Fair Foresti. The wear rockers.
We're Americans.
absolutely.
we know, yeah.
So
American.
and the great thing about that,
We're not
like
like
Daniel, Fer, and all, we all we started our careers around the same time, and it was great because they had the wet rockers, and then we had what we called shooters. So it was 3 of us, and we did off-camera flash, and then we had the wet rockers. Daniel Aguilar, Fer Juaristi, David Josue, and I forgot one. And chingada madre. Discúlpame, cabrón. La neta, discúlpame.
Okay. So we need to just learn
De
how to
donde?
swear in Spanish.
But anyway, they're all from Monterrey, originally. And I'll remember in just a second because I have him in I cannot.
From
his
the
name blanked
final-
out.
Oh, you're looking for a guy.
Anyways,
Okay, I was
so
thinking
we started
someone-
around the same time, and it was great because they were all pretty much like all natural light, and we were all flash and everything. But we were great friends.
Did
We've
you
always been
fight,
great
like,
friends.
the
Oh,
Jets
absolutely,
and the Sharks?
absolutely, yeah. It was like West Side Story. that whole thing, especially being all Latinos, it was
Dancing.
straight
Yeah.
up West Side Story. But anyways, like when we were talking with Daniel Aguilar and stuff like that, and that was one of the themes that we kind of touched a little bit on that. So I'm glad you guys know that. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys will see him in Vegas. Easy to
Yeah.
be there.
We see a lot of people in Vegas.
I know.
It's just that it's always like such a whirlwind that
Do we remember people in Vegas? Vegas is
Not after Geekota night.
Ooh.
not have to keep going. Is same story, the same deal this year? What's going on? What do you? So,
Always.
if I can ask you a question, what's going on at WPPI this 2024 here
Yeah, let's
with
get this-
Geekoda?
There's actually some great stuff that are going to be going, and actually at PPA and WPPI. PPI, as you know, I mean, they're basically PPA is in January, WPPI is in February, March. This year is going to be in March or whatnot. We're going to be at both of them. So if you guys are around, come visit us. And with that, they're going to be announcing speakers soon for both of them. So really, really excited about that part. But if you don't know about, Geekoda Fest and Omnia, people are missing out.
I know about it. More, you don't, right? Moira was in the process of purchasing a house when we
At
were
the-
at
you know what?
WPPI.
No,
It was
And
dead
that's-
smack in the
yes.
middle, like
Oh,
dead
God.
smack in the middle of
Well-
you guys dealing.
And
That
that's
was
the
such
thing
a
is
stressful time for
I
us.
apologize to everyone at WPPI because we didn't want to share because it
I
really
knew.
was.
We didn't want to jinx it.
It was 50-50. Like
Yeah.
it was a coin toss whether this thing was going to fall through, and it was so aspirational. Like it really is. I can speak in present tense because we got the house,
Yeah.
and it's phenomenal, and we love it. But at that time, it was on the verge of falling apart
For so
Yeah.
many different reasons.
for a lot of different reasons. And
Insurance,
so,
because it's so far from a fire department.
yes. So for anyone who was at WPPI,
If we
we seem
if we didn't
spaced
seem
out-
present, if we seemed distracted,
It's-
it was because we had this massive real
No,
estate.
I-
Anyway,
and-
this is
and-
probably super boring for people to
Well,
listen to. What else you got here?
no, but it's real.
But it
because,
really
like,
is.
we
It's part of
went-
it, yes.
Like I remember we did one of our photo walks, and then we went back up to the hotel room,
And did like an hour-long phone call
and I
with
cried.
our real estate agent,
Like it's. I mean, it was a very emotional.
and then
thing.
had to go out to like another
And then
meet
you
and
have
greet
to
thing
like,
with.
yeah, like I, wash my face, redid my makeup.
So I guess like taking that bigger. I mean, like you never know what someone's going
No.
through, right? Like if someone cuts you off in traffic, maybe they're late for a job interview.
Yeah.
Like taking it deeper. Like
And
you never.
and this
Maybe
is-
someone just
and
lost
these
their
are
job.
one of the things that people don't realize of, when you are a speaker, when you are an educator and stuff like that, that those are the things that you cannot show. There were many times when I was teaching that I hadn't either slept or there was things, or I had literally flown in like the day before because I had a wedding or whatnot. These are part of it. These are things that you have to do. So thank you guys for sharing that. I knew for sure, because you came out that night and they were like, Moira's still dealing with the house. She's been dealing with the house all day and everything. So I completely understand. And that's something. And as a business owner, to be able to, do all of that plus everything else, you don't have a company backing you up. You don't have any of that stuff. You have to, you're getting your own insurance, and not only for your business, but, health insurance, all of that
don't
stuff.
get me started.
All of that stuff. It's stuff that is, really, really stressful
Yeah.
in those situations. So
Well, and I mean, thank you for saying that because and that's the thing is like I wish we didn't have to hide it. At the same time, I'm not going to put that on everyone else.
Absolutely,
people
yeah.
are there paying for our photo walk because they want to hear from us. They don't want to hear me sitting there just complaining about real estate.
yeah.
But at the same time, we're trying to balance that and live our lives.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful with how people managed WPPI. And I know that, I mean, really, like everybody we met is so kind and just understanding. So, like, I knew they would understand it, but it's difficult in the moment to
Absolutely.
not be able to explain. And a huge part of that is because, if it fell apart, we didn't want to then
Have to backpedal and
Right,
explain to
and
everybody what
explain it
happened.
because
And they'd be like, "Oh, we'd be
it's a
hearing for a
mourning-
year. How'd that house thing
Yeah.
turn out?"
It's
Yeah.
a
And then having to
mourning
relive it.
process because it was one of those things
We're all
that
good
we
at
had
this point.
really like pegged our hopes on.
Yeah.
Okay, but to put a funny spin on it, so we were in Mexico when our house sold because we sold our house like 2 weeks before we bought the new house. And our house closed and that was kind of contingent on whether or not we could buy the new house. And we happened to be in Puerto Vallarta after this workshop, and we had rented this nice little house on some amazing credit card points, and we were on this like rooftop pool bar, and we were waiting for the text. Like I'm texting our real estate agent, like, have they signed it? Have they signed it? Have they signed it? And as soon as we got the text, we ordered champagne, and we posted a photo of 2 champagne flutes saying, and I don't remember.
I still don't know where you're going with this.
No, how you didn't know what people assumed?
Oh. Yeah. I wrote something like,
we have
we have a big egg incubating. It's about ready to hatch or something.
We're not going to count it.
And then I didn't realize.
Oh boy!
I realized later that everybody was like, "Oh, they're having a kid."
So the flip side.
Because I'm a moron, basically, is the point. Moral of this story.
No, but I wasn't on Facebook because I was just trying not to be on social media. Like as much as if we're on vacation, I try not to check it, and so I hadn't been reading the comments, and then we were getting ready for bed that night, and I was scrolling. I was like, okay, I'm going to read through like things on Facebook. And I read it, and I started reading comments, and I turned to Jesse. I go, everyone thinks I'm pregnant.
Yeah, I'm just naive, I guess. But also,
like,
I want to make the point here that all these are like first world problems, right?
Oh,
like we're sitting here complaining about
problems.
the process of buying a house while teaching at WPPI, while we're sitting here in Dallas talking to you drinking tequila. Like
we have a very fortunate life.
Absolutely.
Millions of people in the world that don't have access to clean drinking water, right? So it's like we shouldn't be feeling sorry for ourselves for a second. We live a very charmed life, and we're fortunate for everything we have.
Yeah, and I think part of and thank you for bringing that up. But I mean, I don't think necessarily you're feeling sorry for ourselves or for yourself, but definitely being able to share this with photographers who maybe are going through similar things or things that like, oh hey, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do stuff like this. Things that took us out of your typical how did you shoot, how did you do this shot,
what was your f-stop, bro?
Exactly, stuff like that.
Which lens?
Just for the mere fact that we all know that, and that's fantastic. And there's and this I definitely want to do this a little bit more personal and stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons why we don't edit any of this. All this goes straight into the YouTube channel. Just how it is. We might shorten it on the ends, just on the waiting period. But other than that, we want it to be unfiltered, with everything that it
and
has
I think
had.
this is the first time that we even shared that we were doing this real estate deal during WPPI. I mean, people, if they were interested, which I don't think you shouldn't be that interested in our lives, please. If they backtracked it, they could figure it out.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
I am gonna.
There were a handful of people. Who
I'll be
knew,
honest.
like,
I was a little hurt that you weren't.
I remember I was like
kidding.
5 minutes late to the Omnia thing, and you're like, "Am I on? Are we on camera? Or are you on camera?"
No,
you're just tapping.
No,
you're
you're on
tapping
camera.
your watch. Like,
No,
what the
you're on
fuck,
camera.
man? You're supposed to be here 5 minutes ago.
That's right.
I was
Yeah.
like,
No. So the whole thing with in the Omnia, and this year again, I'm not gonna say anything of what's going on or what happens. It's part of it. It is, and that's one of the things that I love about Vegas is the fact that there's so many things going on. And this year, just from the little bit that I've been talking, to the people that are part of WPPI, they're really stepping it up. They really, really are. I'm really, really excited about this year, about a lot of new announcements that they're doing, and a lot of new things. So I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say on that part, if anything. So let's see what we say. Rolando Molina says contingency sales can be a nightmare.
say that one more time.
Ronaldo, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want to get like nitpicky? It wasn't a contingency at first, but because of Colorado and wildfire risk, it became a contingency. So we started out with a plan, and then we deviated, and then we deviated, and then we deviated.
It was a circuitous route.
It was.
It went like this and around.
Yeah.
And down.
I only cried once, so I'm very proud of myself.
I cried internally many a time.
No,
cried
but
myself to sleep.
I cried once, and to his credit, I just like broke down in our living room. Like, why is this so
My refrain is
hard?
always like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
But, like,
No, and
it's gonna
he was
life.
wrong.
It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Let's going back to like when you're mired in the minutia of life. Like it sucks right now, but it's not always gonna suck. Like it's
No.
gonna get better. There's ebbs and flows in life, and that's what makes a life fully lived. Right? Is the ups
Yes.
and downs. Like,
Absolutely.
You need those down times to appreciate the up times.
Well, and I think being open to what you didn't expect is important because, again, like photography was never on the docket for me, ever. And so I look back at my life and where it's taken me and how much I've enjoyed it and the opportunities I've gotten and being able to travel with Jesse and work alongside him. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have happened if I followed my original plan.
I just recorded that quote on my phone so that I can play it back to you.
Oh, don't worry. It's here. It's forever.
It's on
It's
YouTube.
it's
You don't need
it's
to
in the
record it.
interwebs.
Can you like
Forever.
tag that timestamp?
I will
for me?
tag it. I'll have it right
Okay,
here.
right on.
No,
It-
but-
it's
I'm gonna
gone.
play that back to her so
It's-
many times.
Okay, so I'm gonna rewind the
When I'm like, "Hey,
questions.
can you hand me the 35?" and she's like, "Fuck you." Be like, "Hey, remember this part of this podcast?"
No, but okay, to rewind the question is like, nope, I was gonna say that and I had it. but
That's
then
all
we
right.
said,
We've been
fuck you.
drinking tequila.
We
It's
have.
okay.
No, it's. Oh no, the advice that you would give yourself 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them. Is you're not going to end up where you think you are right now. And I wouldn't even give that 10 years. I'd give it 5 years. Every 5 years, I kind of sit down. I have what I call a future resume. And it's just where I sort of type up what I want my resume to look like in the future. And I do it once, and I don't check it for a really long time because I forget about it. And then, like one day I'm like cleaning out files and I find it. And the number of things that I've written down and then eventually accomplished, it's just a matter of writing it down and
Yeah.
doing it. And it just kind of gets stuck in the back of your brain, and it's just there driving you and kind of directing where you go. But be open to many different paths. Like just say, I want to go in this general direction. And then, if you deviate a little bit, that's fine.
Well, also, by the time that your goals would come to fruition, you're a different person at that point, at which point maybe you have different goals, right? So you're like always maturing and growing. So yeah, I don't think you need to be too rigid unless it's something very specific that has to happen.
Yeah, and that's really good.
I know.
I'm gonna brush my
We share a brain.
Yeah,
I set him up, he knocks him down.
That's right. And that's one of the things with, for example, like everybody that we've had before, was single photographer. As when I say single, that means that they shoot, or with a team or whatever. But we've never had a couple. So you guys will be the first couple that we've had. And the difference between that and everything is the fact that you have somebody to lean on. 100% of the time.
It's
And that goes back even to me.
invaluable.
Absolutely. I loved when I was able to shoot with my wife. It was fantastic. But we only did that for a couple of years.
well, I mean, Nancy kicks ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
trust me, I know.
Can you does she have some free time to come work with
Wait,
us
hold
on the
on.
weekends?
No.
Or-
Nancy's gonna come. We
No.
have an extra room.
We have
No.
several extra bedrooms.
No.
that
Nancy's
Nancy
gonna
is
come.
welcome to. We have 5
Nancy.
bathrooms in our house
Nancy.
now. Nancy, come on now.
live
If
with
you ever
us.
get sick of this guy, I mean, how could you? But if that happens, God forbid, you're
We're
welcome.
fun.
You're welcome at our house. We have 50 acres. We have a lot of wildlife. Whatever you like to drink
It's
and eat,
quiet.
put it on the shopping list.
Yeah.
We'll hook it up for
Yeah,
you.
we got you, Nancy.
I don't like you guys. And with that, we will end our podcast.
No, okay. So,
But yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the I'm not gonna let you talk. Shush. No.
you're like you already hit on my wife.
I was
We're
like,
done.
no.
No. Can I circle it back?
Absolutely,
to
yes.
So we never had a wedding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in seeing weddings so often, sometimes we don't wear wedding rings. We didn't have a wedding. We didn't do any of the rituals surrounding it. And the way I look at it is every morning I wake up and I decide, do I still want to be with this guy?
Oh, I did. Well, that's the first I'm hearing of that. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like.
I assumed you were doing the same thing.
I
No,
mean,
but and like that to me is what makes a marriage. Is not the paperwork that you sign. It's not the ring. It's not the party that you throw. It's like every morning, do you still want to be with this person? And sometimes the answer is no. And if the answer is no for too long, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's okay if the answer is like you're
Yeah, no, I mean, like I've had a solid week where I'm like, God damn this guy.
Oh, a week?
I'm
Okay. I was thinking months.
I'm
I was
taking-
thinking a couple of months.
I'm taking a vacation. I was like, I'm gonna go rent an Airbnb.
Yeah.
No, but if it's really just like,
Yeah.
ask yourself every day, is this what I want from my
Yeah.
life? And it's not just with marriage; it's with our business. It's with
It's with
everything.
everything for sure.
You know what's funny is like Nancy and I, especially in recent times. Like I said, we just celebrated our 16th wedding anniversary and stuff like that, and we've been talking in the last year or so. We had a pretty traumatic car accident towards the end of last year. That was, it put a lot of things into perspective in my life. And I'm sure it was the same on hers, but I don't want to speak for her. But when it came to it, it was one of those things, like you said, looking back into, do I want to be, and man, the night that I met Nancy was the night that I knew I was going to marry her. And I was the person that I was like, I'm never getting married.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're right. You do. I mean, yeah, that doesn't mean you have to, I can guarantee you that there's been plenty of times that she does not like me. I know that.
What?
I don't even like me,
we like you.
But I was like, that's kind. But
Again,
you don't have to live with me.
We have extra rooms, so like, yeah.
You
But
guys can
it's-
both live in
but
our
it's
house
one
and
of
probably
those
never
things.
see each other.
So- but the thing,
And we have an elevator.
But the thing with that is the fact that marriage is not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be, right?
No,
Like,
absolutely.
All
that
the
would be
best
boring.
things aren't
Yeah.
easy. Like it doesn't have to be easy to be good.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the great things, like having you guys here to show people that working together, as a married couple and stuff like that, it works out great, and that's one of the reasons why we did. Among the fact that you guys are beyond talented, you have great work, and you guys are great supporters of what we have put out there, as a company. It's also, we want to make sure that everything that we do, we have individuals who are just that. People that people can look up to in so many ways. So,
Aw, I feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
good. I think
It's
that's
just the tequila.
I know, I'm like, I
that's
don't
the
know if
tequila.
that's-
I didn't
I
hear
think
a
that's
word that
tequila.
Hiram said in the last 5 minutes because of the tequila.
No, but it's true. And I think what I hope that people get from us talking about this is that there's no set course. You have to set your own course. So something I'll share, and I've shared this with people, but not on YouTube, is that I never thought that I would be married because I never wanted kids.
Half.
You have 3 kids, man.
I know, and I would have had 10 with this woman. when we first like met, and we were getting a little serious or whatever, she wanted to have 5. So she wanted to have 5, and we have 3 amazing, wonderful,
They are.
incredible.
We met
kids.
them.
We just
They're-
for anyone out there watching.
They're funny.
Yeah, we had
They
a meal
are-
with them a couple hours ago, and it was
mean,
wonderful.
Yeah,
They're articulate.
They're articulate. They're smart.
They
they're
tell us
just-
stories. They're not
Yeah.
like
And they took
they're
after
not
their mother.
annoying.
That whole
for sure.
aspect of it, they took after the mother.
You might not even be the real father. Let's be honest.
I'm gladly raising those children, even if they're not mine.
Yeah,
And
they're
they're-
incredible children.
They're also so proud of her too. Like, okay, let's, I mean, this whole thing
very
is becoming like a Nancy love.
It
Like, we
really
all
is.
love
It really has.
No.
It
Nancy
really
the
has
offer
been.
stand.
So
Nancy, come to
no.
Colorado.
No.
Nancy.
But so we have some
Waterloo.
questions.
Okay.
No, we don't. But
Do we not? You're
We
just like,
don't.
stop
Why is
flirting
it-
with
no.
my wife.
So Ronaldo says I'm digging this tequila therapy. So Rolando actually is also a Dakota shooter. Great stuff. He's up in New York, New Jersey,
East Coast
area.
Okay. Yeah.
So but
Right on.
But great stuff. Amber just came in and says, "Hey, you guys know
Amber.
Amber.
What's up, Amber?
Yeah, I feel like
Cheers.
with Amber
Little
and
Spitfire.
Sandra, we all need
Amber
to
is
do
from
the,
my
like,
home state of Michigan.
We all need to do the mitten and point to where we're from.
Yeah, so Amber, you're not on the camera, but I'm about right here, southwest of Ann Arbor, 10 miles from the Ohio border. We assume that you. Oh,
Is
you're
it-
so Saginaw. You're up here, like in the kind of close to the thumb. I went to school at Central Michigan, which isn't too far from there.
Is that really the way you guys do it
Yeah.
up?
Yeah,
Really?
Actually,
Yeah.
what happens more often is the people who aren't from Michigan who find out you are from Michigan. They're like, oh, show me on your hand. So then it becomes this kind
Wow.
of like joke. Like people from Michigan don't do it voluntarily, typically, but.
Okay.
like other people tend
That
to.
part I did not know.
Because it's
Now-
like this, but then the other hand is this one.
Montana is a face, but you can't really like.
You just turn your face like
No.
that. No? Okay.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm from here.
Yeah, that's
You're
actually
from
pretty
Montana.
close. That's actually pretty close, yeah.
So,
my friends,
Billings.
Billings.
Yeah.
200 miles to
So-
Billings?
I'm gonna bring it back into the photography realm for a little bit.
All right.
Do you guys earlier today we were talking about the books? You know, some of the books that I had over in my
Ooh,
office.
books.
Don't talk
Wait,
to
are
me
we
about
going into
books.
photography or going into books?
Well, no.
I love
Because if we're
books.
going into
Oh,
books, this is
Wait,
another
hold
bottle
on.
of tequila.
Hold on.
Let the hair down. Oh, there we go.
Which I love your shirt, and I know you heard it all day today.
I have.
Look. It says introvert.
Oh, turn. Yeah, there
Look
we
at
go.
that. That's actually a pretty
And it's
good
very
shirt.
true. I mean, you're discussing all sorts of things other than books and dogs right
So-
now. But
No, but
still.
that's a good intro.
It really is. It really is. So, talking about books, you had never seen the Still Like an Artist. Jesse, you had.
I've heard the quote "Still like an artist."
yeah.
like I'm familiar with a lot of this.
I read
stuff.
the book. It's
Yeah.
a super
Which
quick
is
read.
yeah, exactly. It's super quick read, very, 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 very small book. There's a follow up to it that you hadn't seen yet, which is a fantastic follow up one. And then I talked to you guys about Rework, which is by far, and I've talked this over and over, and you guys are probably sick of it, but Rework is by far the best business book I've ever read. It is absolutely fantastic, and I highly recommend it. But when it comes to books, Maura, I'm gonna
Opening
go.
a door here. I don't know.
I'm going to.
How
What
much
is
time do we have?
one book? I know. So I'm gonna make it hard on you. I need you to pick.
You gave me.
If-
You
Your
gave
face
us
is
like
gonna
if-
explode.
4 different
if-
photographers.
I know. If you were to pick one book that you were gonna take to a desert island, which is the book that you would take?
Yes, to you, man.
I know. Oh, okay.
This is a book you got to read over and over now.
Yeah.
You're on
no.
that fucking island.
Okay. So and here's the background of all of this. I do not reread books.
Yeah, me either. I've never read a book twice except for Lord of the Rings, I think.
I've never read a book twice except for there are two. Do you want two or do you want me to pick one?
Pick one.
Okay, pick one.
Okay. I know which one it is. It's and it could probably be a little controversial, so I'm going to
Hey, just say it.
It's called Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Friend. Do you know this one?
Yep.
Okay. This might be one of my favorite books ever.
I have a question for you when you're done.
Okay, keep going.
I don't want it now.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Because, so to get real deep into my background, my dad is like uber Catholic. My mom was not. She converted to Catholicism because it was important to my dad. I railed, I went to Catholic school for preschool through first grade. And then, this is going to sound conceited. It'll sound conceited, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was too smart for Catholic school. They could not give me enough math. And so we went to the public school system, but my dad was uber Catholic, like born and raised, his whole family. I railed against it like through high school, and I was like, I don't know why I have to go to mass. Like this is an hour and a half from my Sundays when I could be reading more important things. I would bring my books and hide them in the missal and like read them there. Then I went to a Catholic university, which you could have knocked my parents over with a feather when I told them that I wanted to do that.
So where do you go?
Georgetown University.
Not
Did
that she's
you?
bragging.
Oh my God.
I'll brush
I
your
hate
shoulders off.
Oh my God.
Brush your shoulders off.
Okay, so
the hair on the shoulders.
here is the only reason why that's so freaking phenomenal.
The only reason.
Because it's a super
Georgetown?
prestigious place and hard to
No,
get into.
because of The Exorcist.
Oh, yes. Okay.
She
so
took me to those stairs, man.
every Halloween.
She took me to those stairs.
Every
and I was like,
Halloween.
holy
Okay,
shit, it's the
all right.
stairs.
No. Okay, this is even better. So, and I know so much about this university because, so I graduated in 4 years, and then I worked at the office of the president of Georgetown
Oh my God.
University.
All right.
He's
Just
like,
in case you
that's
guys,
the
in
only
case,
reason, though.
in case you don't know, I am a Halloween file. Like Halloween, it is a big deal in
I'm
my
a
house.
Thanksgiving a file.
Okay,
you
a
like
big
to-
deal in my house, and The Exorcist is by far my favorite. So right now I'm nerding out. So please continue.
Okay, so at Georgetown, okay, this is going to be way more information that you need. Are you okay?
That's
Okay.
that's fine.
We're going to go deep.
That's fine.
So, okay.
There's a clock on these things, though.
Okay, the main hall is Healy Hall, and it's like hand painted. So you walk in there, the architecture is beautiful, but you walk in and there's like hand painting, all like decor and ceiling all over. It was done by a priest who was convinced that he was possessed. Okay, so that's Healy Hall, and then the Exorcist stairs are like down that way a little bit. Anyway, so I went to a Catholic university. And you could have knocked my parents over with a feather when I told them, like, hey, I want to do this. Because they were like, I thought you didn't like Catholicism. And I'm like, still not comfortable
But it's
with it.
Jesuit, though, right?
It
so
is.
it's like liberal
It
Catholicism.
is.
Even the most conservative priests there are like more liberal than
Yeah, they're like, yeah, can't we all just get along? All faiths are relevant, right? Like we all really believe in the same shit.
Yeah. So where was I going with this originally?
Christopher Moore,
Christopher
Lamb.
Moore. Yes.
The question is, what your favorite book?
I read this the summer before I went to Georgetown. And Christopher Moore is a comedic writer, but he's also really good in the research that he does. Have you read this book?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Isn't it phenomenal?
Yes.
But you
What-
wanted her to say a business
The
book, though,
thing
or no?
that I
No.
Doesn't matter?
love
Just the book.
about it is that it shows how much the religions are similar. And at Georgetown, so you had to take, I think you had to take 2 religious classes in order to graduate. That was just like part of the core curriculum. And one of them that we took was called The Problem of God, where you read religious texts from the Big Five. And in reading those and in taking this class, what I realized is like these religions are so much more, they have more in common than they have, apart.
Yeah.
In difference.
And
I don't know.
so and so we're gonna.
Yeah.
We just lost
Sorry.
5,000 followers.
I know.
Probably.
Yeah,
I'm
Probably,
apologies.
but this is actually really, really important, especially if you're a wedding photographer. One of the things that I did is I never discriminated into any type of weddings that I did.
Yeah.
I did everything from gay weddings to Muslim weddings to Jewish weddings to Hindu weddings, all of that stuff. And you have to do your research when it comes to
Exactly.
any of this stuff.
I had that basis, which was fantastic. But so Georgetown is one of those. It's fascinating because it was the first Catholic university with a full-time Jesuit imam and a full-time Jewish rabbi. And so it was very open to all of the religions, and that's what I loved about it.
Which is
learned so much.
Exactly, which is one of the things that, for example, like you have like Notre Dame, which is another Catholic-based. But Georgetown is actually one of the only universities that is a Catholic-based university, but it's an open.
Okay, so all right, we're gonna get like super nerdy here because I'm very okay. So I worked at the office of the president at Georgetown University, and so I learned all this. Like, I did the VIP tours. So I hate name dropping, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I gave a tour to Kofi Annan. I gave a tour to the representative of the Chinese State Association for Religious Affairs.
Maria Shriver.
Maria Shriver. She actually pushed me.
Madeleine
no,
Albright?
No. Maria Shriver asked me how hungover I was, and the answer was very, but I didn't say that. Madeleine Albright's handlers yelled at me.
Sean Hannity?
No.
Who was the dude? Chris Matthews.
Chris Matthews.
Hardball with Chris
Okay.
Matthews.
Fucking Chris Matthews.
Fucking Chris Matthews.
He RSVP'd no and then showed up anyway, which
and
is
then
a
wanted
huge
the
faux
best
pas.
seat in the house.
Wanted the best seat in the house. We
That's
had to
Sunday.
move.
Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
Chris
fuck
Matthews.
No, bro.
I'm assuming you're watching right now. We just want to say
Yeah.
Point being, I got to meet with a lot of people, but I also got to know a lot about the university. And so the motto is Utrique Unum, which means both are one. And Georgetown started after the Civil War, where you had the blue and the gray. You know, the
Confederacy in the North.
yes.
The,
See, I drink enough,
the Union
and then
and
I
the
turn to him.
Confederacy.
The Union
This is
Confederacy.
where we share a
does
brain.
the-
I'm like, yeah.
Where does the Mason-Dixon line intersect DC? Does it go straight through
Yeah,
the heart of it?
that's
But like
why DC
specifically,
was
does it go
chosen.
down the mall or like where?
Good question.
Were
I
there
don't
people
know.
like fighting across the
So
reflecting
going back.
Anyway, but the point is, like, the whole idea of Georgetown was this
Giving me
combination
tequila.
of Utrique Unum, both are one. It's a combination of the North and the South, because, you know, after the Civil War. And it was arts and the sciences. Like, they're not separate. And honestly, like, okay, to like even roll that back even more, I take that approach at our business. Is, you know, people think business is a science. It's way more of an art than it is a science. So all of this stuff kind of rolled into it. What was the original question?
What's your favorite book?
What favorite book?
Okay, Lamb.
Lamb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, religion. So religion obviously leads to Georgetown. But Lamb is the same thing. It's this idea. So the premise of Lamb is it's the time between when Jesus is in there's a missing part of the Bible, and that's the part that Lamb tries to fill in. And what it does is it takes Jesus on this like journey of going to different religions and how that feeds into Christianity. And I just love that idea of like, we are just so much more alike than we are different. And that's one of the reasons I love it. Plus the book, like, it's one of the few that has made me just laugh out loud while reading it, to the point where people are like, what's wrong with her? Is she crazy? Because I was on the metro in DC reading this and like laughing to myself. But it's just this like idea that there's so much more that we have in common than we have dividing us.
You know, one of the things about that book that I really, really enjoyed. I'm not a big reader, and the books that I do read is books that, one, are easy to read, or that just completely just captivate me. I've never read Lord of the Rings or anything like that.
I haven't.
You know, but books like this, it does. It not only does it bring in a lot of religions from you know Judaism
Hinduism.
to Islam, and Islam, and especially out of those three religions, you know, Hinduism being probably one of the oldest ones, and how so many things were kind of nitpicked from there.
The spark.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Like, as a Catholic.
But the thing about it is it makes you think. You know, I'm Catholic, you know, and I've been Catholic. Do I think Catholicism or anything like that is perfect? Absolutely not. However, you know, when it comes to it, the question that the book raises and the things that it brings up is absolutely genius, and the way it does it. It's not exactly. It's not in a a very condescending way, but it's a very like you said, it's a very funny, it's a very just kind of approachable way.
If you can't,
So if you
laugh at
haven't,
it,
if you haven't read this book, please, absolutely, it has nothing to do with business. It has nothing to do with photography, nothing. But sometimes one of the things that I would get asked a lot of the times is like, what photographers do you admire or what do you look into? And I never, when it came to photography, I never looked at other wedding photographers. When I was doing fashion, I never looked at other fashion photographers because I didn't want to be influenced. However, I did look into tons of art. My biggest basis when it came to, like, for example, lighting was like the golden era of Mexican cinema. If you're not familiar with it, please, I encourage you to look into that era of cinema. And Hollywood would not be anything without that era, because the majority of cinemas from, you look into, Gone with Wind and stuff like that. Even a lot of like the Chaplin type of, silent films when they came out were from Mexican cinematographers that migrated into the U.S. To show of what it currently is. It was absolutely phenomenal. And that's been a big inspiration, to me when I started with that part. But yeah, that's actually a great book. Your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to take a left turn here and just talk about how influences from outside of the industry are, I think, the best. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we do we are very inspired by other wedding photographers, but at the same time, if wedding photographers are just copying each other, then all of our work is going to start to look the same and homogenous. So I think that the best thing you can do is experience as many different art forms as humanly possible, right? So like read books, watch movies, look at architecture, read poetry, listen to music, all of those things. I read a ton of books. I'm super nerdy about it, and I keep a spreadsheet, and I just read my 1,000th book of my life a couple weeks ago. Are we high-fiving now? All right. I can do that.
very awkwardly because.
Very awkwardly. Left hand to right hand. But I'm not going to. Yeah, that's the one. I'm not going to pick a favorite book, but I can talk about movies for a minute. And I do love, I don't know about the golden age of Mexican cinema, but some of my favorite directors and cinematographers are Mexican. Like, headphones down. Alejandro Iñárritu, he's got a third name. I can't think of it. But he did Babel, he did The Revenant, he did Birdman. And his cinematographer, whose name I also can't think of.
El Chivo.
There you go. I'm not going to try to say it, but he's done Children of Men was another good one, but that was Alfonso Cuarón was the director.
So did you know so El Chivo, which is the cinematographer?
What's his full name though? Is that a nickname?
Yeah, that's the nickname that El Chivo. That's how we know him.
Okay.
With. So look it up. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So El Chivo, did you know that he was a cinematographer in Birdcage?
In Birdcage?
Yeah.
And not The Princess Bride. The Princess. It was like a Disney movie, but in it, like
Princess Diaries, wasn't it?
No, not Princess Diaries. I'm not going to be able to. That's what happens when you have all this tequila.
Yeah.
But I mean, I watched so many movies.
But the Birdcage. So the opening scene. Did you like?
Wait, you talking about Birdman or the Birdcage?
No, the Birdcage.
You're talking about it's a shot in Miami Beach.
Yes,
South Beach.
exactly. Yeah, the opening scene.
Robin Williams.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
The opening scene in that film when it starts out in the ocean and then it's it comes in. This is before drones. This is before anything else.
Helicopter?
Yeah, no. So the whole thing was. I mean, the way he did it was freaking phenomenal. How he did it, I have no idea. But like he was a cinematographer in that scene, the way it came in and the way it blends in from out into the ocean, out from to the beach and into the club, and then into
the colony
exactly.
Or I can't remember the name.
I can remember it. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, the Birdcage. The name of the club was the Birdcage.
Right, but they changed the name for the movie. It's a different one. I can't think of the name of it.
But the way it comes in, it was because of El Chivo.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, he's incredible. And those like long shot, it's like a 15-minute shot.
Well,
where it's
not that, no.
I'm not saying that one.
Yeah.
But in Children of Men
Oh,
and
God,
in Birdman, not Birdcage, and in The Revenant with the bear attack and the fighting scenes, it'd be like these 15-minute shots that are so meticulously choreographed. So, all of this is to say that if you're an artist in any medium, I think it's good to experience as many different, other artists' work as humanly possible, right?
Absolutely. No, and I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to like artistry, and getting inspiration, from different things and stuff like that. That's where it is. Like you don't there's not this golden rule of, if you want to be better at wedding photography, you should look into wedding photographers or anything like that. It's what you're looking for that inspires you, that you should look at. It doesn't matter whether it's cinema, whether it's photography, whether it are paintings. Caravaggio was a big inspiration for me.
Yeah, tenebrism, man.
Exactly.
Dramatic lighting coming in from outside the frame.
Exactly.
Caravaggio is one of my
that's
favorites.
One of the things
I was an art history minor in college.
Yeah.
We learned about when I saw Caravaggio. It was like, oh, he's doing lighting. He's doing off-camera flash before off-camera flash or anything
was
even
real.
Like it existed.
Exactly.
Way before.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of years before.
So, and there's something, amazing to be able to see like a Caravaggio, like in person. And you see this, because I had prints and all the stuff, but when you're able to see things in person, you're like, oh my God, this is something. It's really just the understanding of lighting, to be able to sit there for hours, days, and months to get these paintings correct, is just phenomenal.
I mean, talk about like pulling yourself out of that minutia. Is one of the things about moving into a new house is that we get to watch how the light moves every day and how it changes throughout the year. And right now, when we wake up, the sun's coming up behind us and it reflects into one of the windows in front of us. And I have this amazing reflection that I get to see. So I get to look at the mountains and then I get to see the sun coming up and the colors. And just being able to pay attention to that and slow down and like see that stuff it's invaluable as an artist.
Yeah.
And most of us don't get to do that. It's hard. Like, I'm not going to say it's easy that anyone can do that, because I struggle even in a new house. I remind myself when I'm waking up, like, okay, pay attention to this. Like, watch it. I have a little alcove because we have so much space. There's a little like alcove where I do my yoga in the morning, and there's a little octagonal window on the other side. And so as the sun's coming up, I watch it and I do yoga, and it comes across, and at first it's like this streak, and then it like forms an octagon more and more, and then it's a perfect octagon, and then it's gone. And so being able to watch that, I think, and slow down.
Yeah, being present, noticing those small things.
It's not easy, but I think it's necessary, and I think that's one of the things, especially in the U.S., where, again, like I said, we have to monetize everything. It's like buy.
Yeah.
Being able to slow down and say, like, just pay attention and experience it. And as a photographer, like, that's what people are paying us for, essentially, is how we see the world.
How we notice things.
Yeah. So noticing things in a different way is going to help you.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like, oh, go out there, like see things in a different way to make more money. Like, it will make you more money, but also do it because it's going to make your life better.
So the bottom line, when it comes to all of this and everything we do, we know it's business. We know that whatever you do, the great thing about, for example, what you did and at one time what I did was the fact that we get to use, our talent, our vision or whatever, and be able to monetize it to capture somebody's memories. And that is an amazing thing. That's something that you can't take for granted. One of the things that I remember from somebody who taught me very, very early on, my very first art teacher, was that if you go into anything like this, that you're capturing somebody's life, they are trusting you with the most important, minutes, seconds, of their lives. And that is a big responsibility. So, all in all, as wedding photographers, as a photographer, or whatever you want to see yourself. Right now, you guys are wedding photographers. It's the fact that it's okay to make a business, but just don't forget what the basis of that business is.
Well, I mean, I think this is one of the things we try to hit on during our workshop, is that people aren't paying you to capture what's there. Because anyone with the latest iPhone can do that. They're paying you to capture
That's the sun. They know.
the way that you see it.
Yeah.
Like, use what you know as an artist to bring more emotion to the photos. Like, bring your perspective. And I mean, going back to how we got started, because Jesse's always done photography. And like I said, I was dragged into it willingly at a certain point. For a long time, I was like, no.
Didn't
And
have
then-
to drag that hard.
No. And then after what? Honestly, like, all I had to do was like, okay, fine, I'll find someone else. I'm like, no, hold on. Hold on. But when I talk to our clients or our potential clients, I explain that, no, my background is not photography. Everything I learned from him. In spite of my, like,
Resistance.
basically. But, like, we see the world in different ways. So when we go to your wedding, we're both going to see different things, and that's what we're going to capture. But luckily, because we work together, it's very complementary. So what they get in a gallery, it's not going to feel...
And it might be a photo of the same thing or moment, but it's two very different perspectives on
Absolutely,
that same
yeah.
thing, right?
Because we're both looking, like, it's who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that cannot be replicated, is who you are and your past experiences and what you know and how you see the world. That can't be replicated. And that's what you want to capture and sell to people. And that sounds really, like, capitalistic, but I think there's a value to it. And even though you're selling it to people, like, there is a beauty in saying, like, I'm making art and someone's buying it. Because in this world of just, like, how fast can I get something? How consistent can I get something? To have someone say, I love the way that you see the world.
And how cool is it, too, to, like, anytime you have to fill out some kind of form and ask for occupation, and you get to write photographer on there, and be like, that's not my hobby. That's my occupation. That's what I do for a living. It's like writing musician or something.
Absolutely.
Like that's pretty cool, and not a lot. That's a huge privilege, and not a lot of people get to do that.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much.
Aw,
For once, you got a little teary-eyed.
I did.
You did. You got a little teary-eyed.
I think that's sweat. It's a little bit. It's a little toasty. It's a little warm in here.
It's Texas, bro.
It's Texas.
It's Texas. It's Texas.
It's warm down here.
So I'm very, very excited to say that for the first time in GTS, we have completely cleaned the bottle.
Well, it's a bit of we're cheating, right? Because there's two of us.
There is. The other guys did put up an extremely good fight on that.
Well,
I would like to say that I am 8 glasses in, you're 6,
What?
and you're 4.
There's no way. He's just
some of
making
these
up
got
these
split
numbers.
as like partial pours,
He is
though.
making up
You
these
are.
numbers.
Don't listen to.
I
don't listen to Kieran.
I've
I'll
got
post it anyway.
I have the numbers.
Well,
I have.
You
he's
have
like,
the,
I have
the
the
numbers.
Don't worry.
You have a board with a
I've
bunch of
got 'em.
buttons on it, man. What do you mean you have
know
the
what?
numbers?
I have the numbers too.
I also
and
have the
they're different
numbers
from
up
yours.
in my noggin.
So,
Right here.
but when it comes to it, thank you guys so much for being here. This evening. It's been absolutely, again, fantastic. Glad to have you guys here. Obviously, this is the first time, but not the last time that we'll be doing this. Again, we have 2 spots left at the workshop in Colorado, and it's laplante.com.
J.
J.
The letter
L-A.
J.
Wait, hold on. Do you want me to spell it the way I do it on the phone? J-L-A, P as in Paul, L-A, N as in Nancy, T
We
as in
need
Tom,
another bottle of tequila for this.
.com/
JLaplante.com/fusion. Yeah. We got
There you go.
12 spots total, 10 spots gone. Come on,
10
join
spots
us.
gone, 2 spots left. If you want to join, this incredible team.
And Jason Vincent and Christian
So
Cardona.
we got Jason
I can't miss
Vincent,
those
Christian
guys.
Cardona, and
It's
and
so
these 2
much.
guys.
This guy will be there.
And
We
so
learned
I'll be here.
Charles will be there.
I don't care about Charles. Charles is once in a while haiku.
We care
It's
about
fine.
Charles. He's
No, you
got
don't.
haikus. He's got
We care
stands.
about Charles.
See, the great thing is that
That's 5, yeah.
so
He and Cheetah stand
Are great.
are great.
Wait, do we need 7 or? All right, this is going to take
see,
too long.
exactly.
Do not wait
So-
here
No,
while
we're
we-
excited about Charles and everybody.
Either way,
be
thank
there.
you guys so much
No. Yeah.
for listening
being
to
here.
us babble
Exactly.
while drinking tequila. I hope there was a couple interesting spots in there.
We apologize for anything.
It's a
that
live
wasn't
thing, so
interesting.
it's not going to get. If you cut that down to like 5 minutes, I think we got a good 5 minutes in there.
If you
But
get it down to 5 minutes,
if this
it
was hot,
sounds
if this
like-
was hot
we
ones,
sound brilliant.
they could cut it.
Charles
down.
says free plugs. Love it.
Holy shit,
plugs.
Charles is still here.
Yeah.
What's up, Charles?
I think he's the only one that's left.
Everybody else is like, fuck.
I
this.
was like, so Charles,
Everyone
you know
else
what that
is like,
means?
We'll watch the replay.
You know what you know what
If you're
that means.
watching the replay,
So,
you tell us.
Tell us
So.
what's up.
but again, thank you guys so much for sticking around
I
on
do
a.
look like my dad.
So
So
Is this the first time you're seeing yourself?
no,
Hey,
well,
Hiram's trying to bring this to an end.
no,
here,
and I
you're-
appreciate that.
I'm gonna switch it over to so you can see yourself. There you go.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Moira
is
looks
that-
like your dad. Yeah.
Yes, I look like my father when I drink because I get really squinty to the point where you can't see my eyes.
All right. Apologies for the drunkenness, but I feel like that was part of the point. So I just want to say to end this that it's been brought to you by Waterloo Peach Carbonated Water. I can't do it. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Tequila, Waterloo, Peach,
that's right.
Texas,
No,
Dallas.
But one thing that we do have is we have some collab coming in between Geekoro and Cheetah Stand. So stay tuned.
Oh, I like that.
We got some stuff.
Two
we got
of our
some stuff
favorite
going
companies.
on.
Two of our favorite
going,
companies.
going on. So we'll be dropping that soon. But again, thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening to us babble. Again, Cascawin,
Ugh,
we got
Cascawin.
you. We got you. We got you
Muy
this
buena.
time.
Cheers,
And
Cascawin.
on this time, hopefully we'll be able to get a hold of the añejo, and hopefully we'll be able to have it over at your on the workshop, and maybe we can get
Yeah.
Vincent, Christian, and you guys all in one. That would think would
Oh,
be
hell
fantastic.
yeah. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
we'll
we
be
will set
fantastic.
aside-
on location.
So,
Cheetah
on location.
broadcast.
Yeah.
On location.
Let's do that. That'd be fun.
So
let's do it night 2.
That's
and
right.
That way, Jason is the one who has to teach.
Yeah.
there you go.
Not night 1.
There
Or
you
not night 0.
So-
night 1
Lo
is fine.
siento, Jason.
But
Lo
thank you
siento.
guys so much for everything. Again, if there's anything that you want to ask, you can still leave comments on here. We're gonna put links to everything that we have, from books to everything else that we had down below. Make sure you subscribe. We'll get this going. But again, thank you guys for everything. I'm gonna switch the camera over to you guys if you guys want to say anything, and then we will sign off.
Gracias por todo.
Practice safe sex, guys. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. No,
No,
What? How
thank
do
you.
we sign this out? I mean, it's
No,
everything's
this
been
is.
said.
I mean, Yes. And I mean, find us
Don't drink and drive.
Facebook,
Hiram's
Instagram.
driving. No, Uber's driving us.
Uber is driving us.
Or we're walking.
But like, I mean, just send us, if you have questions, ask it.
Reach out.
We're here.
We're in
We're
Colorado.
people.
We're here right now.
We're
but
here.
it's-
No, we're here, meaning like, we are people who exist at this time.
Now, what I should point out that Moira is introverted. However, if you would like to discuss books or dogs, feel free to reach out.
Please talk to me. Oh my God. I
My
have
shirt
so many
doesn't say
book
anything,
recommendations.
But
Do
you
not
can
recommend anything
still
to
send me
him.
messages. That's totally cool too. But yeah, be safe. Be good to each
No.
other.
Yes.
Yeah, be good to each other.
Love each other.
We're all, we were
Be
talking
good to
about
each other.
With Lamb, love each other. Be good to each other. We all want the same thing.
Life is too short
We're all the same deep
to
down.
hate people.
Our differences
Right?
are superficial.
This is gonna
They
be my
are.
favorite ending of all
Our
time.
similarities are more meaningful. all
They
right?
are.
So be good to each other, guys. Thanks for listening.
Human beings.
Charles, the
are
one
amazing.
person who's listening,
Charles.
and anyone to listen in the future. I hope you come across it.
I
All right,
like
guys.
it.
Cheers.
Yes.
Buenas noches. Good night.